All right. You can show your thumbs up as the reaction if you can hear me clearly. And it will be great also if you can turn on your video during the session, the forum. And please kindly rename yourself, your name, and then your organizations or the institution or your country. Okay? Okay, let me just check the flow for our speakers and panelists. Then we'll start. All right, so welcome everyone to the Manila Catholic Youth Forum 2025. And on behalf of the organizers, we are truly blessed to gather, though virtually, but in spirit, together with you all of us here as Catholic youth leaders and missions partners from across Asia and beyond. So, our theme for this Catholic Youth Forum, as it's present also here, Asian Youth Engagement for a Synodal Church, Jubilee Pilgrim of Hope, and with the context Jubilee year 2024, also the 10th anniversary of Laudato Si, the Sustainable Development Goals Synod on Synodality. And with me as your moderator for the first section of the day, my name is Berta Sampono. I serve as the Asia Pacific Coordinator for International Movement of Catholic Students, IMCS Pax Romana. And as you can see as well in the poster, together with other partners, this co forum co-organized with International Youth Training Center, or we call Laudato Si Center, in Chiang Mai, Thailand. Next slide. So we are going through this forum to again mobilize and empower Catholic youth, depend on our theology, social and ecological understanding, and how we foster solidarity among us, all of us who gather now across the Asian region and beyond to strengthen our engagement on issues of peace, justice, and ecological stewardship in the life of the church and society. So before we jump into the main sessions and later on the panelists, there are some etiquette, some point that we need to see. So the sessions or the forum that will start today and continue tomorrow will be smoothly. So please kindly mute yourself unless you are speaking. And as I mentioned earlier, kindly rename yourself by name and country Plus, you can add also your organizations or institution. And then we encourage all of the participants to and the speakers as well to talk slowly so everyone can hear or can get your point clearly. And use chat box for any questions or a request, or you can also privately send questions or requests to host. And be patient in the case of any technical issues. Well, as we all are here to start this, we're gonna have a group photo before we jump into the main session. So may I request everyone to turn on your camera. Then we'll have a quick group photo. Thank you for those who sent your name and affiliations in the chat box. That will be great also if you can rename your display name in Zoom, okay? All right. For the group photo, can I have IYTC team to assist me with this? Can we all turn on our camera and stop the share screen?
Can you see? Better?
Yes.
Just one question, Sister Grace. Nakan will be arriving there.
Yes. We are in
Manila.
communication with her.
Oh,
Sure.
okay, that's good. That's good.
Okay. Paula, kindly stop your screen sharing. Okay. So can I have the IYTC team who in charge? Okay, Orgo. Orgo, over to you.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Once more. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Paula next. Okay, before that, as we start this forum, I would like to invite Mr. William Nokrek, our International President of Pax Romana IMCS, to give the welcoming remarks.
Okay, thank you, Bertha. So I'm sorry for my voice because I have been suffering for a seasonal fever. So thank you. Yeah, dear bishops, sisters, and partners, dear friends in Christ, and all of our friends here in Christ, and especially our vibrant and hopeful Catholic youth of Asia. So good afternoon, good morning, and good evening. In some of places it's evening. So warm greetings of peace and solidarity to all of you on behalf of the International Movement of Catholic Students, IMCS Pax Romana. It is with immense joy and gratitude that I welcome you to this significant gathering, the Catholic Youth Forum 2025. And this is our first Catholic Youth Forum for 2025. So it is with deep gratitude and hope that I welcome you to this Catholic Youth Forum. And also, I speak as an indigenous youth myself, shaped by the hopes and hardships of my community and shared dreams of young people across Asia. As we gather here, let us not only reflect as individuals, but think collectively to bring forward the voices of marginalized, especially indigenous communities whose wisdom, resilience, and struggles often go unheard. Their stories must be part of our synodal journey as well. So this forum takes a place during a sacred moment in the life of the church, a Jubilee year that calls us to be pilgrims of hope. But hope, my friends, it's not a passive word, it is a call to action. And in the spirit of Laudato Si, Fratelli Tutti, and the Synod on Synodality, our hope is rooted in justice, in care for creation, and in working together across borders, cultures, and faith experience. As a young Catholic in Asia, we live in a continent of contrast, ancient faith and youthful energy, immense beauty and deep brokenness. Our task is to bridge those contrasts by becoming the prophetic voice of this generation, it's our generation. No? Whether it is in the defense of human rights, the protection of our common home, or the accompaniment of the marginalized, our role is not optional, it is essential. IMCS Pax Romana has long stood as a movement that nurtures conscience, cultivates her leadership, and challenges structures that silence or exclude. Today, we recommit ourselves to that mission. We believe that when Catholic youth come together, rooted in faith and united by justice, the Church becomes more alive, more inclusive, and more synodal. Let us use this forum not just to listen, but to act, not just to speak, but to commit. The Manila Declaration we will craft together is more than words. It will be our shared voice, our shared vision, and our shared pilgrimage forward. To all of you, youth leaders, speakers, facilitators, and partners, thank you for your presence and your witness. May the Spirit guide our conversations, and may we leave this gathering more inspired, more courageous, and more united in our common mission. So, maraming salamat, terima kasih, dhanyabad, shukriya, sisye, gamsa habnida. Thank you all, and welcome again to Catholic Youth Forum Manila 2025. Thank you.
Thank you, William, for the kind welcoming remarks. It's really powerful and inspiring. So next we are going to hear the congratulation message from His Grace, the Most Reverend Archbishop Peter Chung, the Archbishop of Seoul, and also host of the World Youth Day 2027.
Dear young friends in Christ, warm greetings from Seoul. It is a great joy and honor to join you, at least virtually, for the Catholic Youth Forum 2025. I thank the organizers for creating this beautiful space for dialogue and reflection, and I congratulate all of you for coming together with such faith and enthusiasm. Your theme, Asian Youth Engagement for a Synodal Church, Jubilee Pilgrim of Hope, is truly inspiring. You are not only talking about synodality, you are living it. You are working together as young Catholics with open hearts and listening spirits. This is exactly what our church needs today. As Pope Francis tells us, synodality is about working together, listening to each other, and listening to the Holy Spirit. And I believe that you, the young people of Asia, have so much to offer in this journey. Your passion, your creativity, your sense of justice, and your love for the earth. This year is also the Jubilee year, reminding us that we are pilgrims of hope. And on the horizon, we look forward with great anticipation to to World Youth Day 2027 in Seoul. We are preparing to welcome you not just as visitors, but as family. World Youth Day will be a celebration of faith, unity, and mission, and I hope many of you will be part of it. Dear friends, I want to encourage you. Stay rooted in prayer. Stay connected with one another and never stop dreaming of a better world. Because Christ is with you, and with him all things are possible. Once again, congratulations on this wonderful forum. May the Holy Spirit guide your conversations and your steps. And may Our Lady accompany you always on the journey. God bless you and see you in Seoul.
All right, thank you, and again, see you in Seoul. But before that, we need this forum to together sit and discuss, have a dialogue with all of you. So, with that, to start our session, our forum, we need to know what's the background and then what will be the outcome and the next after this forum. So with that, we have our opening remarks from Mr. Anselmo Lee, the co-chair of Pax Christi Korea, that also co-chair for the Steering Committee of International Youth Training Center, IYTC Chiang Mai, Thailand. So I welcome you, Mr. Anselmo.
Hello, 안녕하세요. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Archbishop Chong says see you in Seoul, but I'm speaking from Seoul.
Excuse me, Anselmo, your voice, please.
Can you hear me now? Am I audible?
It's a bit low.
What about now?
Still the same.
Still the same. Just a minute. Yeah. It's okay now? It's better?
Yes.
Yeah. It's better now. Yeah.
It's okay now.
Yeah.
Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Anselmo Lee, as introduced Berta. Archbishop Chong said, see you in Seoul, but I'm speaking from Seoul. So, so my job is to, in the name of opening remarks, I hope this remark will help you open your mind and brain and eyes so that we are same page, and also we can search together in this reflection and then planning together. I have a PowerPoint. Let me go through one by one. Use just a minute. Yep. Okay, can you see in the screen, PowerPoint? Yep.
Yes.
All right. So let's do. Okay. Okay, now I want to put you in the context where we are and also where we are going. So this is the first Catholic Youth Forum in 2025. Like any other meeting, it is in the context. I think it's very important for us to understand where we started, where we are going, and also we are heading for. So this year 2024 is very important. I want to highlight some of the significance of 2025. This will help you to understand why we are organizing this Manila Catholic Youth Forum. First, it's the 80th anniversary. I'm sure we are all younger than 80, right? So this is what happened before we are born. So this still, this somehow determine social political structure where we are living today. The first one, and also there are many events taking place throughout this year related to these multiple anniversaries. First one is end of World War II in Europe, and also end of Pacific War. These are two wars. But as you know, as Pope Francis said, we are starting another war, World War III in piecemeal, scattered here and there, So again, now we are coming back to the age of the war and armed conflict as we witnessed last several years. Ukraine, Russia, and also Israel, Gaza, Iran, for some time ago in Asia, Pakistan and India, So many people who are living in this Southeast Asia and Northeast Asia, so-called East Asia, we are very much worried about emerging, the conflict, tensions between Taiwan and China and Korean Peninsula and around the Philippines as well, So this is a very important context where we are discussing the peace, justice, care for creation. And also, this is the 80th anniversary of UN. As you know, UN conference was held in the city of San Francisco. The UN was born in San Francisco, San Francisco. And then 3 months later, officially founded, 24 October. So UN also will celebrate this UN anniversaries sometime later this year. And also, very importantly, the nuclear testing for the first time in history, a nuclear bomb was dropped in Hiroshima, Nagasaki. And also, a few days ago, U.S., the bomb nuclear facilities in Iran, So nuclear just still very much dominates in this armed conflict and also geopolitical discussion, pretty much alive, So this 80th anniversary, the end of war and nuclear and the UN, at the same time, national liberation of Korea and also Indonesia, because of the end of Pacific War, These all come together: war, peace, global governance, nuclear weapons, or nuclear disarmament. So this is a broader geopolitical background where we are discussing some issues within the church and also in the in society at this Manila Catholic Youth Forum. And also there are many other anniversaries, 2025. I don't know whether you remember Bandung Asia Pacific Conference, which was a starting of non-aligned movement during Cold War, So like now, we are back to new Cold War, China against US, US against Russia. And so that time, 70 years ago, with the initiative of Indonesia, India, some African countries, they want to build the world global order without being affiliated to this hegemonic the blocks, so non-aligned movement. I think in this message, the spirit of Bandung still very important, relevant today. How can we build the world in the divided world? As Pope Francis and also Pope Leo XIV said many times, How can church build the church, not division, not war, but bridge? So Bandung spirit can also be guiding the principle for our discussion. And also within UN, there are many anniversaries, social summit, and then Beijing Women's Conference. And also year 2000, there's a famous resolution on women, peace, and security, and many others. So these are some of the background. When we discuss social advocacy campaign, this is a very useful information. Next one, coming back to the church. This year, I'm sure you are singing or you remember this famous song, Canticle of Brother, Sun, and Moon of San Francis. This is a 800th anniversary. 800th anniversary. So if you have not, please watch the movie San Francis. This is beautiful. The song Brother, Sun, and Moon. This is the 800th anniversary. And then William and the Berta, myself, we were in Assisi the last month. Oh, no, this month, few weeks ago, to organize and also attend Assisi Catholic Peace Forum. together with the Pax Christi, IYCS, and many other groups. So it was very special to remember and feel the spirit of canticle of Brother Sun and the Moon, San Francis. So in case, I don't know, are you planning to go to Rome in Jubilee of Youth, end of July? I strongly recommend to visit Assisi. It's just 2 hours by train, you know. So this is a historic moment, you know, 800th anniversary. And also 6 years anniversary of Vatican Council II, the end of Vatican Council II, you know, which is opened the way for the church to be the pioneer and also dialogue, to be in dialogue with the society, Vatican Council II, and also 10th anniversary of Laudato Si, and also 5th anniversary of Fratelli Tutti. You know? So these are some of the background which we will discuss in session 1 and 2 and others. So now the context. So with these all the anniversaries, let's put ourselves in the global context. So within UN, I don't know some of you, whether how many of you are really following the discussion and agenda within UN the last year. And there was a UN Summit of the Future. The UN also very much concerned about the future because so much challenges, not only today, but also tomorrow and future. So they discuss the peace, of course, and also sustainable development goals, and also mainly digital and the future generation. So now the global society now in the process of implementing the Pact for the Future, which is the outcome document of the UN Summit of the Future. And also this year, the UN also discussing financing for development, how we can mobilize the finance to implement sustainable development goals, and also social summit in November, and also annual meeting, the climate conference in Brazil. You know? So these are the ongoing meetings. This is very much related to the peace, social justice, care of creation, because when you discuss Laudato Si and also Fratelli Tutti, this is an area where we can put our effort in terms of advocacy. So this is what is happening this year, UN and civil society. And also within the church, I guess some of you, if not all, were engaged in this synodal process, 2021 to 2024. As you know, the synodal assembly was ended in October 2024. And then Pope Francis died 2 months ago. And then new Pope, Leo XIV, he declared this synodality will continue under his leadership. So it will continue till October 2028. So we are again in the process of implementing the outcome of Synodal Assembly 2024 as the Archbishop Chung highlighted, you know. And obviously, everybody we know, now we are in the Jubilee year 2025. So there are a lot of celebration and the event in Rome. And a few weeks ago, there was a Jubilee of Ecclesia Movement Association and New Communities where William and myself and also Berta attended. And also next month, Jubilee of Youth. So this is exactly the main reason that we are organizing Manila Catholic Youth Forum as part of preparation for Jubilee of Youth in Rome, end of July. So I believe the Pax Romana, together with the IYCS, will organize Rome Catholic Youth Forum, which is global, but this Manila is a regional one. So like a building block, you know. Hopefully Asia and Africa are the continent, and then we can have a global forum in Rome, you know. This is a process. And this all the towards the World Youth Day. That's why Archbishop Chung from Seoul, he gave us the congratulatory remark, and also he welcomed us in this the World Youth Day 2027. So this is a church process starting from Synodality 2021, now Jubilee, and 2 years later, the World Youth Day. At the same time, UN has also its process. As a member of Pax Romana or YCS, a youth movement, we are both in the church and also society. That's why it's important as a lay movement to be involved in two process, the church and civil society. So this is the agenda I want to introduce for your reflection and discussion. So now, the Manila Catholic Youth Forum. So this is the one-page snapshot. The Catholic Youth Forum, Jubilee of Youth, World Youth Day, and Synodal process, and under Leo 14. And Leo 14, if you remember where, he highlighted why he chose the name Leo 14, you know? Because Leo 13 was the Pope who introduced Catholic social teaching for the first time in the name of Rerum Novarum, new challenge, new situation, in the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. So now he highlighted very much the importance of AI, artificial intelligence, and the fourth industrial revolution. This is one of the biggest challenges to the church and also humanity. I hope you can also discuss in this Manila forum how youth can understand and meet those challenges coming from AI and fourth industrial revolution. Every day we are using AI, but AI is a good tool, but at the same time, challenge. Okay, next one is now Jubilee. Let me introduce some the visual images. This is a Jubilee of the lay movement, and also the Jubilee event. This is a Synodal 2021 to 2004 is a finish. Now we are starting implementation process. See, Vatican Synod continues 2028 assembly announced October. So we have 3 years journey to implement the Synod. So this is an image of Synodal process 2021 to 24. And this Seoul World Youth Day theme already announced the last year by Pope Francis, take courage, I have overcome the world. I think it's very important. Maybe you can pick up, you know, the key word of the Jubilee is a hope, pilgrim of hope, and World Youth Day is a courage. I think these two words are very, very important, relevant today, you know. So I hope you can pick up this one. You know, we need hope with courage to meet all the challenges we are facing in our daily life, whether you are in Bangladesh or Philippines, Indonesia, India, Vietnam, South Korea. I think we need this both hope and courage. I hope you can have a deeper reflection of these two keywords in your group discussion. So now, this is a 2007 World Youth Day. Can you see Archbishop Chong in the photo? In the middle of the photo, this is Archbishop Chong. He was clapping hand when the Pope announced, and also he see here, he's a head of organizing committee for World Youth Day Seoul. So now, Manila Youth Forum, a Catholic Youth Forum, Manila. This is the first time, but first time in the name of Catholic Youth Forum, but it's not the first time of the youth meeting. So this is one of the initiative. That's why I want to introduce related initiative. One is a Catholic Peace Forum. As you know, I'm carrying the Pax Romana and Pax Christi. Very interestingly, among more than 100 lay organizations, two organizations have the name Pax. That's a Pax Romana and Pax Christi. So last year, these two Pax movements are meeting and are working together in the name of Catholic Peace Forum. And also there was a Catholic Social Forum. And also earlier this year in Chiang Mai, there was a Chiang Mai Catholic Civic Forum and also Chiang Mai Global Governance Forum. Let me introduce very briefly, especially the Peace Forum and Social Forum, because this is very much linked to the Youth Forum. Youth Forum in terms of agent youth, but social and peace, this is the agenda for our action. So this is the journey from 2023 to 2025. Why 2023? There was two important meetings in Chiang Mai. The William Nokrack, International President IMCS, he was working for Asia, but he was elected here as an international president, right, William? Do you remember 2 years ago?
Yes.
And also Suman, one of the IMCS Asia Pacific team member, he was also elected here in Chiang Mai. There was the IMCS Asia Pacific Council and also World Health Summit. These are the starting point, Chiang Mai. You know? At the same time, 2023, IYTC, International Youth Training Center, Paksumana Laudato Center, where I'm serving as one of the steering committee members, was officially launched. The blessing of Archbishop of the Chiang Mai. So this was starting point. And then next year, 2024, we organized a series of the Catholic Peace Forum, Nagasaki, Rome, and Geneva. And also, January 2025, this year, we organized Chiang Mai Catholic Civic Forum. Then a social forum, first one in Bangkok, and also we are going to organize in New York during UN high-level political forum on sustainable development, social forum. And as I said 2 weeks ago, Assisi, we organized the Catholic Peace Forum in Assisi. All these outcome documents will go into the agenda of Manila Youth Peace Forum. That means in terms of youth action, you are going to discuss some of these outcome documents and translate them into the future agenda for action in the post-Manila process, particularly in the forthcoming event, the Rome, when you go to Rome. And of course, it was a virtual, so that we can meet also friends from Africa and Latin America, Europe, and many other part of the world. And this all goes to 2007 Seoul World Youth Day. So these are the whole process starting from 2023. So let's go quickly the rest of the PowerPoint. So this is all the list of events which I mentioned. So you can have a look later on. And let me show you some of the photos. The Catholic Peace Forum started from this historic meeting of 5 bishops, 2 bishops from United States and 3 bishops from Japan, Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and also Seattle and Santa Fe. Santa Fe is a New Mexico in United States where the first testing of nuclear bomb took place. And Seattle is a city where nuclear bomb was developed, And Hiroshima, Nagasaki, everybody knows this is the 2 victims, and especially Nagasaki is a Catholic holy place, there are a lot of Catholic churches, and they're all destroyed by this atomic bomb, So I hope if you have an opportunity, please visit as a pilgrim of hope and Nagasaki, especially this year, 80th anniversary. So some of us also will go to Hiroshima, Nagasaki to attend these 80th anniversary ceremonies, and also the petition. I hope Berta or Suman will introduce the signature campaign to commemorate 80th anniversary of atomic bomb in Hiroshima, Nagasaki. So this is a history of Pax Catholic Peace Forum, Latin, the Pax Catholica Forum, starting from Nagasaki, Rome, Geneva, Assisi, and Hiroshima, Nagasaki this year. So this is the common journey of Pax Romana and Pax Christi, and more groups are joining, like IYCS and sometimes Franciscan, and also many other Catholic organizations. So this is the first Nagasaki meeting, and you can see the photo of the bishop from Japan, United States, and South Korea. I guess there are a few South Korean participants. In the middle, the Bishop Peter Kang Woo-il from Jeju Diocese. He's now co-president of Pax Christi Korea with me. So this is a meeting the last year in Nagasaki. And this was a photo of the Catholic Peace Forum in Rome. So you can see the William and many familiar places. And so we discuss all the peace agenda in terms of youth. And then we presented outcome of this Nagasaki and Rome to Pope. So this is a famous private audience meeting with the Pope Francis. You can see William just next to Pope, and the Fasika, Secretary General, and then Father Giorgio, International Chaplain of IMCS. This also jointly with the ICMICA. And then, as you see, I presented this Nagasaki Appeal for Peace and also Rome Appeal for Peace. I hope when you produce Manila Declaration, outcome document of this one, and then Suman, I understand Suman will go to Rome, right, for the Jubilee event. I hope you can present Manila, the Declaration, to Pope Leo XIV, as I did last year, to the Pope Francis. So now agenda. As you know, this Christis Vitae, which is outcome document of Synodal Youth, which give us the overall agenda and then direction of the youth ministry and also Catholic youth movement. And 2015, Laudato Si and Laudato Deum in 2023 about care for our common home, and Fratelli Tutti and fraternity and social friendship. And now the Pope Leo XIV's message about AI and fourth industrial revolution. I believe that these are 4 key components of the agenda and topics at this Manila Catholic Youth Forum. So these are the list of issues we are going to discuss at different sessions. So let me introduce event and schedule. So your reflection discussion is not for the sake of just knowledge sharing, but in terms of action. That's why I want to present this set of information for your strategic action planning, nationally or internationally, within your movement, and then together as a coalition. So first, future process. So after this Manila, now the Catholic Youth Forum Manila, and then there will be a Catholic Peace Forum, 16th of July, because these are the 80th anniversary of first atomic bomb testing. So we are going to have the virtual Catholic Peace Forum. And then July 20th in New York, and there will be a Catholic Social Forum, and then Jubilee of Youth in Rome. And during this Jubilee of Youth, there will be a global youth forum, global one. Manila is Asia, mainly Asia, but this one will be global in Rome, in person and also virtually. And then August 6 to 9, there will be an 80th anniversary in Hiroshima, Nagasaki. And then November 24, this year, there's a World Youth Day diocese. As you know, every 4 years we have a global event. In between is a diocese, the parish or national, and then 2000 up to 2028 is a long-term implementation of Synodality and World Youth Day. So this is the kind of calendar, some of event this year and also 2026 and 2027. And then UN Civil Society, this is the annual one, the key events from April. Already we are in the middle of June. So this end of this week, UN will have a meeting in Sevilla, Spain to discuss financing for development. This can be also important opportunity for your campaign. I understand Paxomana is a part of global campaign, economic justice mobilization, debt cancellation, because Pope Francis, his final message, the World Day of Peace, Catholic World Day of Peace, 1st January was appeal to all the Catholics and then international society about cancel the debt. There was one of the key message. So I hope we can do the campaign according to Pope Francis' final message for World Day of Peace. And then BRICS Summit and also UN in New York and then many others. Remember, August 12th is an International Youth Day by UN. Very symbolic, So that means 1 week after Jubilee of Youth, we have the global celebration of International Youth Day. So these are all the occasions for your campaign and lobby and other activities. And after that, we have a UN General Assembly. And September 21 is the International Day of Peace for UN. Catholic Church, we celebrate World Day of Peace the 1st of January. by UN 21st of September during UN General Assembly in New York. And there will be an International Civil Society Week in Bangkok and the World Summit on Social Development and climate meeting in Brazil and G20 Summit South Africa. And December, there was a UNEP, UN Environmental Assembly in Nairobi, and 10th of December, Human Rights Day. So these are all the important occasions where you can utilize for your activities, whether it's a campaign or prayer or reflection or vigil. I think these are very important milestones. Lastly, event calendar within the Catholic Church. So when you make a plan, annual plan, remember this important liturgical calendar and also Catholic social teaching calendar. The January 1 is a World Day of Peace. Traditionally, the Pope always make a message, give us a message. So this message can be the tool for your annual campaign and other activities. And then the Lent, Easter, and this year, this is what happened, right? There's a Pope Francis, election of Pope Leo XIV, and Laudato Si week, the end of May, and also the June. And then we have September 1 to October 4. There's a season of creation. This is an opportunity for you to go deeper into Laudato Si. And then September 21 to October 2, we have a Catholic Nonviolent Days of Action promoted by the Catholic Nonviolent Initiative. So this is also another opportunity for you. And the World Youth Day, Advent, and then Christmas. So starting as a World Day of Peace, ending the Christmas. This is our liturgical calendar, and all there are important days related to the Catholic social teaching. So I hope this can be useful for your strategic planning at the end of your Manila Forum. So thank you. I wish you good luck. I'll be with you in virtually for your reflection and discussion and planning. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you. Let's give a virtual applause. Thank you, Anselmo, again to give us a brief about the background of this forum and what we have done, and then together what will be the outcome and for the Manila Catholic Youth Forum. So as you know, we have this forum but today and tomorrow. So today we'll have our speakers to share in the different thematics, different theme, and then we'll continue with the youth panels for an hour, and then a quick Q&A, and then tomorrow we'll continue with the group discussions to have a more deep dialogue among us. Okay, so with that, I'd like to share this screen. Okay. So for our session 1, we have our speakers that they will share, as I mentioned, from different perspective about the youth accompaniment, about the Pope Francis legacy, about the Synod, and then youth challenges in Asia as well. So we have our 5 speakers here. We have Father Reverend Dr. Jojo Fung SG, Miss Marina da Costa, Miss Florence Alexius, Messer Giancarlo Francisco, and Father Rico Ayo. So first, I'd like to invite our first speaker, Reverend Dr. Jojo Fung, to share about the Pope Francis Prophetic legacy, a church that listens and walks. So Father Jojo is a theologian and then a longtime companion of grassroots communities, and he is teaching in Ateneo de Manila University in the Philippines and a chaplain of IMCS Pax Romana. So we welcome Father Jojo. He's currently in his mission and work in mainland in China. So he sent his regards, and then also with the video presentation.
Asian youth engagement for a synodal church as we celebrate the Jubilee Year of Hope. I would like to speak about the spirit-led, these two words, spirit-led, because I want to really share with you a power in the spirit that leads us. I want to share with you against the background of the recent Iran and Israel war, where I certainly feel, while powerless, the power of the Spirit of God is at work to bring about ceasefire and peace. So for me, these two words are important. We become Spirit-led, synodal youth leaders in Asia, for Asia, and for the world. Synodal as in walking, working together, and listening to God's Spirit and allowing God's Spirit to move us so that we respond to the signs of the times in our church, in our Asian society, and of course in Mother Earth. I firmly believe that God's Spirit is already there at the beginning of the world as a spirit that hovers over the waters. And of course, that spirit that is upon Jesus and upon us. I believe in being spirit-led because Jesus was led by the Spirit to proclaim the kingdom of God is at hand in Mark chapter 1, verse 15, and amongst you in Matthew chapter 3, verse 2, chapter 4, verse 17. Jesus was led by the Spirit to announce to the people that God's kingdom, God's presence is here among us, not far away, but in our hearts, in our relationship, in our church, in our society, in our war, in spite of the injustices, the exploitation, and the conflicts, war, corruption, and greed in our midst. So the Spirit is leading us to become people of the kingdom of God, to become synodal as in walking and working together. And suddenly Jesus is led by the Spirit in Luke chapter 4, verse 18, to proclaim, to announce, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me to proclaim good news to the poor, freedom for the prisoners, sight to the blind, and set the oppressed, including Mother Earth, free. So we are also led by the same Spirit to proclaim, to walk together, to work together for the poor, to work for freedom for prisoners, to give sight to the blind, to set the oppressed, especially the earth, free. We are led by the Spirit, and we should believe that God's Spirit is at work through Laudato Si, through Fratelli Tutti, to the United Nations SDG, Sustainable Development Goal number 13, which asks us to take urgent actions to combat climate change and its impact on our lives and on Mother Earth. Certainly, we must allow the Spirit to move and to motivate us to really experience this oneing or become one with the people and the earth. And I certainly believe that in my own life, God's Spirit is the most important power in this oneing exercise. Let me share with you my personal experience in Assisi from June 11 to 12, 2025 recently. In Assisi, I find myself sitting in silence and solitude, looking out the window in the afternoon, and then doing this exercise, doing this prayer. And my prayer is, I'm one with you, my pillow, my bed, my clothes, the pilgrims and birds outside, the clouds in the blue sky, the mountains, the moon, the planets, and the stars in the cosmos. The sense of one with all of these things, all of these life forms, make me feel that God's Spirit is also in all of them. And I want to share with you my personal experience in Rome from June 14 to 15. I was in a bus stop and I was looking out at the people walking by, and this is my prayer. And one with all these people here, God's Spirit is in each one of them. God's Spirit binds each one of us into one. We are one, spirit to spirit, even though we are different in faith, in opinions. The sense of wanting, the sense of solidarity with, the sense of being with, journeying together as pilgrims in Rome on this planet Earth. I think this ties in very well with Laudato Deum in number 25, in Laudato Si number 139, which states, "For we are part of nature, included in nature, and thus in constant interaction with it." That means nature is part of us. We are really, the water in us is part of the water in nature. The oxygen in us is part of the oxygen in nature. We are constantly interacting, myself and this earth and the people and life forms on this earth. In Laudato Deum number 26, it states, "Human life, intelligence, and freedom are elements of the nature that enriches our planet." I think you and I need to believe that the intelligence God has given me, the life that God has given me, the freedom to choose to do, to work for justice and peace and caring for the earth, has really enriches our earth. We are part of its internal workings. We are part of the process of becoming a better, a greener earth, and part of the balancing that is happening in our earth through our sense of solidarity with one another and with Mother Earth. I think for me, what I just shared with you is really an experience of a conversion or change of heart. And this is found in Laudato Si 218. I'm experiencing a different way of living. I'm experiencing a conversion of heart. I think a change of lifestyle as well, where I'm feeling a sense of wanting, a sense of oneness with people around me, with nature and with Mother Earth. And therefore I feel it is very important then that for me to realize that God's Spirit moves you and me to network with others and to be in solidarity. That means walking and working together with other youth movements in Asia. I believe it is important to be moved by God's Spirit so that the same Spirit motivates us to engage with others of diverse cultures and religions to work for peace, justice, and a greener earth, a more sustainable earth. So we become really responsible ecological stewards of the IMCS movement in Asia and the Pacific. There's a priest whose talk I attended 2 years ago in Ateneo de Manila University, Quezon City. His name is Anthony Ludasamy. This is what he has to say about the AI generation, about the youth of Asia and the world. He talks about the third space of encounter with Generation AI, when every aspect of every person involved is respected, revered, and considered sacred. This is important to realize that the young people, deep down within themselves, although they are caught up in the exams, caught up in their own joys and aspirations and problems, in their shyness, in their lack of confidence, there is a sense that every person must be respected, they must be revered, and they must be considered sacred. Persons are valued for what they feel and they express. Every form of expression is met with critical affirmation and open appreciation. So deep down, the Spirit is moving them to respect, to listen to give importance to every person, to affirm them, to appreciate them. I think in the heart of every young person, the Spirit is moving them to do what is positive, what is good for the world, for society, for the church. Juan Cristobal Betia has this to say, "It is no secret that the future of the church lies in young people, and that future will depend on our capacity to bring these young people closer to Jesus Christ." I think it's not just closer to Jesus Christ, but closer to an experience of how God's Spirit is leading us, is moving us, is motivating us to go out, to go beyond ourselves, our little concerns, to the concerns of God and God's Spirit, not just in this home of ours, in this country of ours, but also in this world church of ours, in this earth of ours, in this creation of ours. So for me, it is an experience of the sacred, of the divine, because of the presence of God's Spirit, who is everywhere, in everything, every person, every life forms, every culture, every religion, in nature, in the sky, in all the planets. Therefore, it has to be an experience of the Spirit with power to move and motivate us to go beyond ourselves to the poor, to care for Mother Earth by one with them. A sense of that we are one, we are together in this journey, and the Spirit is moving us to respond to the signs of the times in our church and therefore in our world, in God's creation. And Pope Francis has this to say in Laudato Si number 179, learn from indigenous people. Quote, they're able to instill a greater sense of responsibility, a strong sense of community, a readiness to protect others, a spirit of creativity, and a deep love for the land. They are also concerned about what they will eventually leave to their children and grandchildren. These values are deeply rooted in indigenous peoples. So it's connected with our lives today, with nature, with our land, with everything on this earth, and also with our grandchildren. In other words, what kind of a world, what kind of a garden that we leave to future generations of this earth. And so I deeply believe that we need to learn from indigenous people that the land is sacred, nature is sacred, because God, the Creator, is really dwelling in our midst, together with the life-giving spirits of the ancestors of nature. They are all here with us, and their presence, together with the presence of our Creator, Sustainer God, makes everything on this earth, people included, nature included, sacred and divine. So as the spirit of wanting moves and motivates you, you become one with others around you and one with nature too. You grow beyond yourself. You stand in solidarity with others and care for others, especially the poor. You care for nature, you care for Mother Earth. So my dear young people, you feel at home with the bigger self whom God's Spirit has transformed you into. Be the bigger self that God's Spirit wants you to become. So I want you to know that in our movement especially, we remember Giorgio Frassati. Is a young person in the IMCS of Italy known as Fucci, who will be canonized on Sunday, September 7, 2025, together with a young saint from Assisi, Italy, called Carlos Acutis, who is also as young as you, who engage in social media. But Giorgio Frassati not only engaged with other young people, but he engaged with other young people in Italy, especially to work for the poor, to work for a better society, so that we become a better church in this world. So may you become Spirit-led Synodal leaders for IMCS Pax Romana. My question to you is, do you allow yourself to be led, moved, and motivated by God's Spirit to become Synodal leaders for IMCS Pax Romana in Asia Pacific? And so thank you very much for your attention. Maraming salamat. Terima kasih sa inyong lahat. Bye. God bless.
Okay, so thank you again, Father Jojo, for grounding us in the prophetic witness of Pope Francis, and then with the last reflective questions for all of us to think of, maybe not now, but later after this, and especially for tomorrow, continue our forum. So with that, we now turn to the practical dimensions of youth accompaniment. We have Miss Marina da Costa, who will share under the topic of youth accompaniment in practice. So she's an anthropologist by training as a professional. She currently works as a grant manager in Mumbai-based foundation, conducting qualitative research in the field of tobacco control. So she's a former member of IMCS in India, we call All Indian Catholic University Federation, ICAF, and is working for IMCS Pax Romana since 2006. Also experienced collaborating with the ICMICA Pax Romana. She serves as the lay animator to the former international team of IMCS 2021 to 2024. And she was instrumental in initiating and leading first ever chaplaincy commission of IMCS. So currently she serves as the coordinator of the IMCS chaplaincy commission, where she's facilitating dialogues globally along with the international chaplains, Father Jojo, and then the other chaplains from the national movement, and together with the international team. So she's with us right now, but beforehand she has prepared the video, the recording, so we'll listen to the video recording. While if you have some questions or comments, also both from Father Jojo and then later on for upcoming speakers, please feel free to leave it in the chat box. Okay, so now let's welcome Ms. Marina.
Hi, greetings to everyone who is attending the Catholic Youth Forum Manila. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to share my experience in youth accompaniment. My name is Marina Di Costa and I'm from Mumbai, India. I'm a former IMCS member and currently I serve as a coordinator of the IMCS Chaplaincy Commission. So let me share my screen. I hope you all can see this. So in 2021, when IMCS held its strategic plan meeting, we thought of coming up with a commission called the Chaplaincy Commission. We realized that while there were many people accompanying the students or young people in that case, they were not heard, they did not have any platform, and most importantly, they were not acknowledged. So we came up with this commission, and none of us had any idea like how this is going to unfold. So when I think of accompanying the young, I think of this beautiful quote by Pope Francis in Christus Vivit, which talks about Song of Hope. It says that young people, they lacked deep roots. And because they lack these deep roots, when the storm comes, they get destroyed, they are lost. And it is easy to drift off when there is nothing to clutch onto, to hold on to. And there is where the role of accompaniment comes into picture, where people like you and me, despite our own challenges, maybe our lack of training in how we can accompany these young people, we still make a determination that we are going to be there. We are going to make the difference. When I accompany young people, I know that they accompany me too. It's not an expectation, nor it's a deal, but I know that it's a default outcome. Who am I? And is this role for me? The first question we all need to ask. If this is not for you, it's fine. But if this is for you, comes the self-transformation. It's challenging. I have worked day in and out to transform myself, to work in my own personal goals, to show the results that yes, I am an achiever, to inspire young people, right? So when we accompany young people, they look at probably 2-3 things which are very important for them. They ensure that the one who is walking with me is someone who is keeping his or her word, someone who is capable, whom I can look up to, someone who is in her or her in his or own life, is living a life that can resemble, hope, that can resemble courage. So this has been very challenging for me, because it's easy to just go up there and, advise, oh, you do this, you do that. But when it comes to my own life, I need to be very, very vigilant about it. Like, what is happening in my own life, and how I'm living my own life. The second is to understand who are these young people. Young people for years, keep changing their forms. Like, they will, be the very, very energetic, or they can be troublesome. And we all know, growing up, everyone just talked about the same old grandmama thing during our days, and things like that, right? But then here is where we need to step into heart-to-heart dialogue. Each individual is different, each culture is different, and knowing the economic situation of the family, or knowing where the students come from, right? There's a different dynamic that we need to work with. And that is how I feel that, that accompanying young people has been with the two different extremes. One is to look into my own life, balance my own life. And secondly is to forget everything about my own life and just be one with them. There are some characteristics that I want to share, which has helped me grow in this role of accompaniment. One is that we all need someone who radiates life. We don't want to walk into as people who are sad, who are hopeless, and who kind of bring in the vocabulary of negativity. We want people who can radiate that smile, be authentic. Someone who can dedicate time genuinely. So when I schedule my work at the commission, I do not say it's okay if I don't attend this meeting, or let's see if I can make it for this meeting. It is part of my calendar. I'm scheduled and I prioritize that. So someone who is taking that role seriously, and yes, there are no incentives to it. I can say there are no monetary incentives to this, right? So I take that up as part of my calendar. It's part of my daily work. I acknowledge that we have people, elderly people, or people who are, around, who accompany young people. Sometimes we just pick up someone from the parish or someone from the university. We just, employ someone to just be physically present. But that's not the accompaniment that we're talking about. We're talking about someone who is well-read, who is someone who has experience in the movement, someone who can talk the language which young people can do. And yes, we do conduct trainings. We do ensure that we capacitate the individual to get there. But what's most important is that the person we are employing is someone who is present with the young people, who has the heart. Important to be a faithful Christian who engages with the church and the world. Not necessarily we all agree with what's happening in the church, or sometimes, we have our own opinions. But we cannot work in silos. We're not here to take young people away from the church. We are here to, get young people closer to the church. And that is where, I have had found very, very challenges where I have to go back and learn the church documents, build myself, into that sense of spirituality, strengthen myself there. Right. And there is where, I found that when I am strong in my own faith, it is easier for me to accompany young people. Active listening. I'm a person who talks a lot. Sometimes I can just go on, and there's so many things running on my mind. I've learned to pause. I've learned to listen, right? At times I've heard the person for 45 minutes. I absolutely have no idea how to, respond to that. But the fact that I'm listening and I am empathizing is making the difference at the other end. And of course, very important thing is compassion. Like, we all need to work on ourselves, that we truly be compassionate to these young people, because they can surprise us anytime. And we need to be ready for that. I humbly acknowledge, as a human being, I have my own faults, my own gaps. I make mistakes. Okay. And it's fine sometimes to make those mistakes, but it's not mistaking your character. When we employ someone who is accompanying the young people, it's very important to judge the person's character, to judge that when that person is with these young people, do young people feel safe? Right? So yes, we have our own gaps, but we cannot excuse our character. We cannot excuse our misbehavior. Someone who is not passive, right? Someone who just goes and sits and says, okay, it's not like dropping your kids to school. You need to be participating. And that is where some time back, I was talking about that. You need to be intellectually training yourself, capacitating yourself so that you can talk, you can express, you can actively journey with young people. We respect the freedom of young people to process in the process of their discernment. We do not say this is right or this is wrong. We just ask questions to provoke them, to help them think more, and provide them a kind of a structure where they feel that, yes, I have made it. I've understood, that this is my concerns. I believe in the potential of young people. I have faith that they will participate in the church, that maybe not now, maybe they are discovering themselves right now, but sooner or later, they will be part of the church. There'll be people who will be building families. There'll be people who will be, taking their Christian life into academics, into their workplaces. So as someone who is working with young people, I'm not sure if I need to expect that, that they will really do excellent in life, or they may just fail. What is important is that I need to have faith that somewhere down the line, this formation that they're getting will make a difference. So need to nurture the seeds of faith in young people and be patient. We really need to cultivate this virtue of patience. Sometimes I've seen, me being biased to some young people because maybe I just don't like their behavior, or they come across as troublesome. But when I interact with them, I have regretted for my own, thoughts, because I've learned that they have so much to share, and it's my bias, it's my filters that has refrained me from reaching out to these people, right? So that is where, again, questioning our own conduct and asking ourselves, like, how can I transform my inner being? How can I do something different that can, charm young people, that can help them feel that, yes, they can come to me, and we can have this dialogue of friendship. How do you practice this pastoral care in the synodality spirit? Manage your time or manage your energy. It's going to be hectic. There have been times I've, have been up at 1 a.m. There have been times I'm up at 5 a.m. Sometimes you're working, sometimes I'm cooking, I'm doing all sort of things, and I'm sure, like, you can relate to this experiences when you're with young people. So you need to schedule your time with them. You need to also tell them that your availability. So in this, what has helped me is the energy management, where I keep doing things, my own goals and my activism in my work, which keeps me going and builds my energy to another level. And that is how I can, perform well when I'm coordinating meetings with the Chaplaincy Commission, or when I'm interacting with young people. I listen to provoke. I listen to probe, to understand, right? I do not listen to respond. I speak in a way that can encouragement or discernment. You and I will listen together. It's not only your problem, it is also my problem. Let's see how we can work on this. Promoting critical thinking. this is where sometimes I feel my pockets are empty. I need to find some tools. I need to find some frameworks. And that is why I took on reading books. So, whenever I've read different kind of books, I have been able to talk to young people in a language which impresses them, which tells them that I'm not talking out of the blue. I'm giving you certain sources. I'm talking, something which I have read or something which is evidence-based. And this is what kind of builds a trust in whatever you're sharing with young people. It's not, it's not about sitting and just having a cup of coffee and talking random stuff. Yes, that's part of building the rapport with young people or establishing this kind of connection. But when we interact, we are interacting to understand the deeper meaning of life with them. Gestures like remembering birthdays, remembering their family names, starting a conversation and saying like, what did you eat today? And what are you doing? And how is your mom doing? How is your dad doing? So when you remember them and congratulate them for their little victories that they share, and we make it look like it's big, it's wow, it makes a difference to them. They feel like there's someone who cares for me. And yes, there are times where we need to give constructive feedback, which we can give in person, not maybe criticizing them in front of the group or treating them as hopeless. We need to give them constructive feedback. Firstly, understanding like why, they came with this kind of behavior or why they talked about it like that. Do not compare. Most important is do not compare your young days, your generation to this generation. This is an exciting board. It's all with surprises. They all new, figuring out things in this era of technology, of AI. And I know sometimes you may find it difficult to cope with that. We just need to be there and understand, what their worldview looks like. This is the next part. It's very interesting, which I found in my experience in accompaniment, is dealing with the lives in compartments. So there have been times that I'm talking about, about their education, and they've been telling me that the education has been like bad because they have not got the funds for their university, or they have no time to study, or they do not have that great environment back home. So they may be like one or two things that are disturbing them, but because of that they kind of mess up their entire view, saying that my life is not good. So I have tried to like always do mind mapping. I have kind of helped them like take a blank paper and keep penning down what are the areas of their life, kind of create a design. And as we talk, as we interact, they keep doing that exercise. And then they learn that it's not like their entire life is bad. There's a lot of things in their lives that they can be grateful for, but it's just that one or two things that maybe it can be relationship or finance that, is disturbing them. And that is where the area we can work together. So then we say, okay, fine, this looks good. What about these things which do not, seem great right now? Can we work on them? When we talk about money or finances of these young people, there are two kind of categories that I've found. One is that people who are privileged, and because of their families or or what they're earning, but they have no idea of how they can save their money or create purpose to that money. On the other hand, I've seen also young people who are really struggling for their basic needs. So while our spirituality in idea of God looks good, I think of Gustavo Gutierrez, who says that how can you tell people that God loves you when you're hungry, right? When you don't have money. So while we feel that we need to address the larger picture of the youth formation, there are also these smaller pictures which lead to a very critical end, right? And that is where we need to be vigilant about that, and it has to be tailored for everyone. Okay, when I mean everyone, I really mean everyone, and that can be tedious, right? It cannot be generally talked about. We need to bring them to our eye level, right? We need to ensure that we see them as equals and not someone that they come running to us, right? As I said, that we sometimes feel they need us. No, we need them. And how can we collaborate in Asia? Firstly, I'm very happy that we have an opportunity now as we come together, work together. We can create platforms for dialogue and build solidarity. As we work in a chaplaincy commission in IMCS, there are many youth organizations where we have the role of accompaniment. And this is a great platform that we can build where we, come and look at what are we dealing with as people who accompany young. We focus on lived experiences. While there are a lot of theories and books that we can refer to, and also manuals that maybe we may find them, but there's nothing that can beat the lived experiences that we have as individuals who are accompanying the young people. This is something very critical that we're taking up very, very much on priority at the IMCS Pax Romana Chaplaincy Commission. We are looking for people who can accompany the young. We are going out, interacting with the former members of IMCS. We're looking at people who are showing keen interest. We are focusing on recruitment of these chaplains and lay animators, so that we build a group of people who can genuinely take care of the needs of these young people who are desperately wanting to reach out. And we also are responsible in trainings. So we are kind of bringing in resources. We are developing, like modules for trainings. And it's, again, as I said, it's being tailored across the globe in different locations. Some locations have picked up well. Some are finding it very challenging. And there are many places where we do not have these people, right? We do not have chaplains, we do not have lay animators. So we're trying to understand, we're trying to assess what can be done. So it's my humble request, to please focus on the recruitment of the chaplains and the lay animators, and also to put in place the trainings. And we are always here, to share that common platform. And finally, I want to share that and we all need to take youth accompaniment as a grace and not as an obligation. I think it's a good fortune that we are part of this group, and I know many of my friends who have kind of lost touch with the church activities, or you can say have lost touch with the youth movements, find themselves sometimes lost. And I feel that I'm very fortunate that I'm part of this kind of group where, I have the opportunity time and again to meet young people from whom I draw so much of positive energy. And that is what, gives my life my purpose, right? So, yeah, thank you so much. This is all I had to share. To summarize all of these things, it's just you being yourself and you having the heart, the true heart, and a good character to accompany young people. And once these things are in place, I'm sure, like, movement like IMCS and the chaplaincy commissions around, and even departments that work for the pastoral care can help you build your formation. So let's work together on this and create say a wave of people who can journey with young people in this year of hope. So I wish you immense happiness and all the good things that come along with this youth accompaniment. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Marina, for those practical insights. And again, if you have any questions or any thoughts during the sharing of the speakers, just leave in the chat box. All right, so let's now hear about the formation for action. So we have Miss Florence Alexius here. She's a Malaysian based in the Philippines, the director of the Institute of Formation Fondatio Asia, or we call IFA Asia. She brings a rich experience in education and leadership. with degrees in economics, business, and pastoral sociology. She has served IFA since 2012. Passionate about youth formation, she empowers young adults through personal accompaniment, transformative formation, and community engagement, living out IFA Asia vision to form missionary leaders committed to serving the church and society in Asia. So with that, over to you, Ms. Florence.
Greetings, everyone, and thank you, Berta, for the introduction and also for welcoming us, IF Asia, and me for this opportunity to share the little that we are also doing in this part of forming the young, practicing synodality, and so on. So for today, I'd like to invite us once again to reflect on what does it really mean to walk together with young people, not just in words, but what it means to have concrete action. So recently in February this year, we had a dialogue with our stakeholders. And one word that resonated deeply in this dialogue was synodality. It was not just a topic, it became a way of seeing, a way of listening, and also ultimately a way of forming young people for mission and transformation. And very interestingly, of course, one of our participants, who is also the observer for this dialogue, Dr. Leah Tolentino, she particularly shared an insight saying that synodality is a spirituality, not simply a structure. Yeah, I repeat, synodality is a spirituality and not a structure. So what does that mean? So synodality is not just a church process. It begins with deep listening, and it also involves shared decisions and a shared mission. Because it's very important that for young people, the spirituality begins with sincere listening, deep listening, because that is also the start of a missionary formation in their hearts. Yeah? And that means listening that is not just about being polite, but a listening that allows for a transformation, where the voices of the youth is brought to the center. And when we truly listen to their questions, their dreams and struggles, it will awaken us, as church, to respond with relevance and compassion. So for the youth, being listened is a start of their missionary formation. So I'd like to also highlight about formation, because the focus of my sharing today is about formation for action. So when we talk about formation, this helps in listening and participation, because without listening and participation, formation cannot happen. So young people, it is important for them to be heard, to be included, and trusted. Formation is not about preparing them to follow, but it's also about equipping them to lead. And synodality, it creates a space for co-creation and shared mission. So during the last dialogue that we had, many stories of youth were highlighted, where they were once unsure of their place, but through the listening, through the accompaniment, yes, they were able to share the mission, and they also became to be able to see themselves as co-creators of a living church. So this aspect of listening and participation is how the ongoing formation for every young person continues. And I'm sure in this platform, maybe tomorrow there will be that opportunity where each one, is given a space, a voice to be heard, and to allow for co-creation of a shared mission. So that is the power of a synodal journey. And it means not to walk ahead of the other, but to walk with one another. So another part that I'd like to also highlight is about what does it mean, synodality in action? It is conversion from the words to witness. It's a conversion from vision to action. So some examples that were shared with us during this dialogue was this pukat. Pukat, it's a Malay word. It means net. Yes. So a story that was shared during the dialogue. In Malaysia, a bishop used this image of pukat, a net, a fishing net, to speak of mission, where it was about a mission that engages everyone to walk together in the mission. It was a beautiful sharing that shows the simplicity of a leader engaging one another in a similar platform. Likewise, in the Philippines, another participant shared about this particular mission center that integrates ecological responsibility and spirituality. Yeah, it is through these centers, through such centers, that young people learn faith through an ecological responsibility, through service and community. So there are such good work that also provides the platform for young people. So synodality, it's not just a theory, it's been happening. Yeah, these examples, these situations are truly a lived synodality. So my next point that I'd like to bring to our attention is about the formation for missionary disciples. Yeah, because that is our call, that is our invitation, how to help young people to grow and become missionary disciples. So for one, the first point is about that formation is more than doctrine. It's more than doctrine. What does that mean? It means the self-discovery and healing of the young person is important. Formation today must go beyond the catechism. It needs to enable self-discovery, self-awareness, and inner healing. It must touch the head to think critically, the heart to love with compassion, the hands to serve and bring hope. And this is so important, where the hope allows each one to walk in faith, even in confusion, even when all else seems to be in despair. So mission-centered learning, what does that mean? The formation needs to awaken the call to mission, a sense of purpose. Give each one a sense of purpose, especially in the hearts of the young, because that is how we form missionary disciples. And another important sharing during this dialogue is how we need to also be attentive to make space in our formation, to be ecumenical and inclusive in the formation, because synodality transcends denominations. And what touched many of us during this was that synodality is, it has to be inclusive. In fact, one of the Protestant participants who was with us, he shared, when it comes to youth, we must be synodal in our approach. It must be a shared call across faith to serve and walk with you. where it is about building friendships across traditions, recognize the struggles, and sharing the struggles, and responding not as isolated churches, but as a united witness for young people. Young people need to see this unity. Likewise, the realization that the real enemy is not other faiths. Because sometimes when it comes to different denominations, there's a competition. But his insight was that the real enemy is not about other faiths, but it is about the despair, the division, the injustice, and the indifference that exist in this world that pulls away the young persons from their own faith life. I hope I'm not going too fast. Okay. So moving on, the other aspect of formation for missionary disciples is also looking at this journey from formation to transformation, because that process is the critical element to enable a successful formation. So in this part, I would like to share for IF Asia, because we are a school of formation for young disciples. And what we do in IF Asia is we equip young leaders through an integrated and sustainable formation for action. And it starts with inner formation, building self-awareness and faith. Then comes leadership development, where participants are allowed, given the space, given opportunities to grow in teamwork, team development, and responsibilities, to see how are they as a person in their leadership context. Then they are also grounded in mission, rooted in Catholic social teaching, so that they also have a healthy mindset when it comes to working for others. What is the principle that guides them? Then the next part of the process is also allowing the opportunity to have internship action, where there is a real life community engagement. Yes, before they go back to their country, and also when they're back in their country. Yes, there is that agreement that they will be engaged in real life service with a community. And finally, through network support, alumni continue to be accompanied in their journey of service. So this is something that we do. And as working together in formation and mission, we need to involve partners. IF Asia alone can't do it. It's with collaborating with partners, with the NGOs, with the church that sends the young person for a formation. And as they go through the formation and complete, we send them back for a 2-year internship. This engagement, this collaboration is very essential to give a purpose, a meaning, and a motivation for the young person to also faithfully go to the very end of their formation. So coming to the conclusion, it's about walking forward in formation and mission. What does that entail? Walking forward in formation and mission. Well, there are 5 guiding commitments that we see. One of it is the formation for transformation, where it's not only about the learning at the head, the intellectual, the intelligence, but it's also about healing and transformation. The second is about collaboration for integrity and equality. It's we need others in this journey so that we can help to break the cycles of poverty, to ensure equal opportunities for different marginal groups, the indigenous groups, many of them, so that we need to have partners in this journey. And that is also part of the thinking of the formation. And thirdly, It's about opening this dimension of mission, yes, to inspire the young ones to embark into a life of service as well. And this means trusting the young people that they are capable to lead with courage and also with a vision. The other aspect is about hope, yes, hope that leads them, no hope that dares to believe in a God that can do all things. So, as we have this dialogue, there was one youth, no, who raised this question. There are so many initiatives and projects being discussed, but his experience is, I'm not sure if the initiatives discussed can actually be carried out. And that is valid. No? Sometimes there is this question. So in response to that, no, I would say, yes, no, these initiatives can happen. We walk together. These initiatives can be materialized if we consciously take the step faithfully, yes, and respectfully with one another. So as a closing invitation, it is about let us form and walk with young people, yes, seeing them as co-creators of a vibrant church, as leaders of mission today, and also as agents of transformation rooted in Christ. So we remember, no, hope is the radical refusal to put limits on what God can do. Yes, on our own, we may sometimes face blocks, struggles, but when we put our hope in God, yes, we can go beyond the limitations. So with that, I say thank you. Our journey continues. And these are the participants that were with us during the dialogue in February in the Philippines. So it was a very fruitful sharing and a conviction. So today, I'm happy to have this opportunity to also share some of the insights and outcomes that we were able to gather, because I think we need to share more of these thoughts, positive thoughts, encouraging thoughts, no, to keep us going. So with that, once again, thank you for this opportunity and God bless.
Thank you, Ms. Florence, for again highlighting how formation empowers young people and at the same time share about the outcomes, what's happening during the dialogue earlier February this year. Thank you for that. Yes, next we have our speaker who will highlight on the living synodality in Asia. We have Father Enrico Ayo. So, are you with us, Father? Okay. So let me introduce our speaker. Father Enrico is Executive Secretary of Conference of CBCP, Episcopal Commissions on Family and Laity, and has been assisting the FABC since 1990 and the General Secretariat of the Synod of Bishops since 1994, together with Father Clarence Tifadas of in Kuala Lumpur, that recently appointed Associate Secretary of FABC Central Secretariat. So with that, I'll welcome Father Enrico to share with us.
Good evening. I thank you for inviting me to speak at this forum. My topic given to me is living synodality in Asia. So I'll divide my talk into two parts: living synodality and synodality in Asia. Now, when we talk about uh, living synodality, we know that living things change and evolve. So we track what has to be modified, what has to grow, and what grows old and has to remain young. Now, in our experience in Asia, we have this, for example, uh, the FABC was established in 1970, and just celebrated the 50 years. So we can track the synodal evolution. Let me share that with you. There. Can you see that? Okay.
Yes.
Now, in 1970, the Holy Father Pope Saint Paul VI visited Asia, and he encountered Asia as the continent of masses, the teeming masses, and they were poor. He also encountered Asia as the Asia of the young. No? Most of the people in Asia, billions, are young. And then he encountered Asia as the home of diverse religions and cultures. However, the masses were not just poor, they were awakening. The youth also were awakening. The masses of the poor were awakening to the fact that they need not be trapped in poverty. They can actually uh, be agents of their own development. So it's an awakening masses. And then the youth were also awakening. They wanted to be involved in social transformation. And then the diverse cultures and regions were also awakening. They want to build an authentic community of peoples. So the church has to become a church of the poor, a church of the young, and a church in dialogue. In fact, the offices of the FABC, the first three offices that were established, were on human development, student chaplaincies and the young, ecumenism and interreligious dialogue. The others came later on. Now, 50 years later, we realize that the church in uh, in in Asia, no, the church of the poor is now a church that wants to be in harmony with creation. Yan. And then the church of the young is actually the church swimming and navigating in the new frontier of the web. We need not actually enter the web. We are already there. Jesus is already there, transforming lives and building communities. And then the church in dialogue, no, want to be a church of bridge builders. We want to be peacemakers. And the church of silence is actually, of course, that, excuse me, yeah, looking for the free exercise of religion. And then the church of silence is also the church of the redemption and hope. Now, so from 1970 to 2020, we saw the situation, pandemic, globalization, uh, digitalization, urbanization, migration, etc. And then we realized there are 9 pastoral priorities for Asia, moving forward. Migrants and refugees, indigenous, families, women, gender issues, youth, digital technology, equitable economy, and interreligious dialogue. And then we identified 5 new pathways for the church in Asia, from foreign expressions to enculturated proclamation, from basic ecclesial communities to basic human communities, from dialogue to synodality, from proclamation to storytelling, from the beaten track to new pastoral priorities. I'd like to focus here on BECs to BHCs, So the basic ecclesial communities are to open up in dialogue with everyone, regardless of faith, gender, etc., and focus on the common humanity. Yeah. And then usually the BHCs will be involved in care for a common home. Now we've also focused on from dialogue to synodality. When we talk about the church in dialogue, it seemed that those we are dialoguing with are outside the church. For example, dialoguing with the poor. No, no. A better way of expressing the mission of the church, particularly in today's world, is walking together. Walking together with the poor, walking together with the young, walking together with our neighbor religions. And then from proclamation to storytelling. Yeah. Okay. One of the things that we can focus on the shifts is that uh, instead of being, since we are a minority in Asia, we cannot really proclaim our faith from the rooftops. What we can do best is to whisper the faith. No? And we can only whisper the faith when we are able to be near those we want to evangelize, those we want to share the gospel with. So that means our approach is not polemical. It is not uh, opposing, but actually one of friendship, relationships, building bridges. Okay. Now that's for uh, evolving the living synodality as evolving synodality. Now we can talk about living synodality in Asia. Let's see, let me share that. Oops. I think that's all. When we talk about synodality, it would be good to understand what is a synod in the first place. So the Synod of Bishops is a group of bishops who have been chosen from different regions of the world and meet together at fixed times to foster closer unity between the Roman Pontiff and the bishops, to assist the Roman Pontiff with their counsel in the preservation and growth of faith and morals, and in the observance and strengthening of ecclesiastical discipline, and to consider questions pertaining to the activity of the church and in the world. That is the synod. And we know that there have been 16 ordinary general assemblies and 3 extraordinary general assemblies and 11 special assemblies. Of the 16 ordinary general assemblies, there was already the General Assembly on the Youth, and the latest one is on synodality. Of the special assemblies, they cover actually continents or countries or places, while the general assemblies cover the whole planet. And in the special assemblies, one of them was on Asia. Yeah. Now there are some notable assemblies, you know, the Evangelization Modern World. We have Evangelii Nunciandi as a papal document, Catechesis Tradendae, Familiaris Consortio, Reconciliatio Penitentia, and this one, Christi Fidelis Laici, yan, Pastores Dabo Bobis, and then Vita Consacrata, and then Of course, in 2012, we had the new evangelization, and Pope Francis issued the document Evangelii Gaudium. In 2018, we had young people, faith and vocation discernment, and the Pope issued Christus Vivit. And in 1998, we had a special assembly in Asia, and we had Ecclesia in Asia. Now, the Synodal Church, according to Instrumentum Laboris, is founded on the recognition of a common dignity deriving from baptism. Yeah. Now, that's from the Instrumentum Laboris. Synodal Church is a listening church, and it desires to be humble, knows when it must ask forgiveness, and has much to learn. It is a church of dialogue and encounter. It is open and welcoming and embraces all, and able to manage tensions without being crushed by them. This is beautiful there. Now, before 2023, the synod took place in this Aula Nuova. So everybody is hierarchically placed. No? Everyone has a place there. Now, this is done so that the Pope can actually see everybody, and then if you are there, you would feel that everybody is so near to you. There's an optical illusion there that happens. Now, for the Synod of Synodality, the arrangement was by round tables, no? 8 to 12 people in each table. And even the Pope had his own table. No. And there are about 40 tables there in the Aula Paulo VI. And there were 365 people there, plus the other assistants there. Everybody's there. And of course, if you know Momoko, uh, she she was designated as one of the president's delegate of the Pope. There were 9 president's delegate. She would share mate with the Pope. Now, what is synodality? From the final document, synodality is the walking together of Christians with Christ and towards God's kingdom in union with all humanity. So this is very important as a definition. No? The walking together of Christians, and it is walking together with Christ. Without Christ, it's not synodality. Even thieves can walk together. And the walk together is directed towards God's kingdom. And the walking together is united with all of humanity. That is mission. And it is oriented toward mission. Synodality involves gathering at all levels of the church for mutual listening, dialogue, and community discernment. And synodality also involves reaching consensus as an expression of Christ rendering himself present, he who is alive in the spirit. And decisions reached must be done according to differentiated co-responsibilities. This is a engaging term, and differentiated co-responsibilities. Every baptized person has a responsibility for the mission, and everyone is thus co-responsible. Now, nevertheless, everyone has his or her own mission, different mission. It is thus a path of renewal and structural reform that enables a church to be more participatory and missionary so that it can walk with every man and woman, radiating the light of Christ. Now, now having understood synodality, it would be good then to see it as living in Asia. This is the last slide. Okay. Okay. Can you see that? You know. Now, here is how to live synodality, knowing the pastoral priorities and new pathways identified for the church in Asia. So you can see up there the 5 new pathways: enculturated evangelization, basic human community, synodality, storytelling, and openness to new pastoral priorities. And then the new pastoral priorities are divided into 2. Those priorities that speak of our impact on Asian societies and cultures are ad extra. And then those priorities that speak of formation for a synodal, missionary, and merciful church. For the impact on Asian societies and cultures, we seek to be bridge builders and bridges, instruments of intercultural dialogue and reconciliation in Asia. We want to care for our common home. We want to implement Laudate Si and Laudate Deum, ecological conversion. We want to protect environment and biodiversity and work for climate justice. We want to promote an equitable economy that is based on the option for the poor, inclusive growth in the context of urbanization and just globalization. And we want to accompany migrants, refugees, and the indigenous. Since all humans have the same dignity, we want all of them to receive spiritual care, respectful integration into receiving societies, and we want to work against human trafficking. Now that's ad extra. What is the church? What the church wants to have what impact the church in Asia wants to have in society. Now, how do we achieve those? Now there are 5 priorities that speak of formation. Number 1 is giving special attention to the family, no? Opening new roles of leadership to women in the Asian church, addressing gender issues, ministering to the young, and encouraging the effective use of digital technology. Now, where is the youth here? Actually, the youth are called to all of this. Kumbaga, we see the youth as dynamic and at the forefront of all of this, just as the youth had been in 1970, awakening youth. Yan. Ayan. So, very challenging, but also very exciting. So, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Father Enrico, for again explaining about the synod and then first about the FABC, the offices, and then the synod, the synodality, and again for calling us to live synodality not as a slogan, but as shared practices. So thank you for that, Father Enrico. And as to close our presentation block, for the first section of the day, we have Mr. Giancarlo Francisco. So, or always we call Gio, as a licensed he's a licensed psychometrician and HR supervisor, currently pursuing his master's in industrial psychology at the University of St. Thomas. He serves as the diocesan head for youth formation in the Diocese of Paranaque and has held key roles in the Focolare movement, including National Youth coordinator and now member of its International Youth Council. So in 2024, Gio was appointed by the Vatican's Dicastery for Laity, Family, and Life as the first Filipino member of the International Youth Advisory Body serving the global church in youth ministry. So, Gio will share or will speak about the key issues facing youth today and how the church is responding. So, Gio share with us his presentation through the video recording.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Gio Francisco, and I'd like to thank Pax Romana and all the organizers who made it possible to put together this program of the Catholic Youth Forum 2025. I have been assigned to discuss a bit on the key challenges of youth in Asia and the Church's response. When I received the topic, it was such a it was such a load. I didn't really how do you say it was something heavy, but I'm also sure that it's something that you're familiar with. So let me walk through with you, walking together on this subject of the key challenges of the youth in Asia and the response of the church. So I think there's an option for Zoom chat box in this program. If not, let's pause for a while and just think. What do you think are these key challenges that we have as young people in Asia? What do you think are these challenges? Maybe you have seen them over the news, read them on social media, or you personally encounter them. You hear them from friends, from family. Come to think of it, what are these challenges that we're talking about today? You have one or two answers? All right. Keep that in mind and let's continue the discussion. So the church is aware of the challenges that humanity faces today. We can hear and read these in public messages and documents by spiritual leaders of the church, by your own parish priest, the bishops, and even the Pope, the Holy Father. So let's try to see. In 2019, there was a synod focused on the youth. And drawing from the outcome of this rich synodal journey, the Holy Father came up with a post-synodal apostolic exhortation entitled Christus Vivit. Have you read this beautiful document? It's actually, we refer to it as a document. It looks like a book published, but as you can see on the front page, it's emphasized to be a letter of Pope Francis to the youth of the world. Have you read this already? I remember, it was April 2019 when this was released, if I'm not mistaken. And I was in Rome for a meeting when the document came out. So what I did, because the soft copy was already available on the website of the Holy See, I sneak out during breaks and I would try to go over, I don't know, I think it was one section for a few minutes just to be able to read it in complete before it passed. I mean, as soon as the document went out, I wanted to read it completely. So with much enthusiasm to go over it. So I'm sure if you have not read it in full, maybe you have heard of it quoted in social media or in homilies or in messages, because when this went out, it was really well quoted. Many aspects or many sections, pages of this document was well disseminated and continues to influence how the church deals or responds to with young people today and their challenges. So if you have not yet read this document, please, after this session, after this conference, please take time to do so. It would be a pity that you would lose the chance to encounter this treasure. I would say it's a treasure because when I read this, I really felt it was a letter directed to me. So I hope that you have the same feeling and you don't miss out on that feeling that there is a letter specifically written for our generation today. So this document, this letter included, I would say courageously included, what are those challenges that we experience? I'd like to highlight only two, and then I added one more. For sure, you thought of many challenges. You could have been very specific also in those challenges, but let's just, for the purpose of the discussion this afternoon, let's just try to go over 3 points, two of which, the first two I'll mention, comes directly from this book. There. One of the first things that the late Pope Francis did mention that we are living in is a world in crisis. I don't have to go far. I don't think I have to enumerate as many. You are aware of this. Our generation is aware of this. There's crisis between nations. You're hearing a lot of it recently. There's crisis in the climate. We're not calling it anymore climate change. We're calling it climate crisis, precisely because we are in a ticking time bomb. We need to do something, otherwise consequences are irreversible, and there's a timetable to follow. There's a 2030 deadline. If we do not change our ways drastically by the year 2030, the rise in temperature across the globe will be irreversible. If I'm not mistaken, 1.5 to 2 degrees Celsius, and that's already more than enough. It sounds small, but it's more than enough already. So you have climate crisis also. What else do you think are the crises that we encounter in the world today? There's many. There's still discrimination. You thought it was a century ago or decades ago. It's still here. Discrimination is still here. What else? What crisis are we experiencing? There's also the crisis of truth, and we'll go over that a little later. And there are many other crises. For sure, you're thinking of now, you're writing them in the chat box or in your notebook. There's a lot. But there's also the crisis of poverty. There's still that crisis also. And for us young people, we do experience crisis also, because I remember, if not 10 years ago, we are aware in the stages of the development of a human person that at a certain point, there is a possibility of a midlife crisis. And only a few years back, was there a new term coined, quarter life crisis. It's not easy. That means even in the age of the 20s, there is already a sort of crisis being felt already. And what is this crisis? There's the crisis of identity. There's the crisis of where is my path? There's the crisis of career and educational opportunity. There's the crisis of, because we're trying to see so many things. Oh, maybe this person seems to be successful at the age of 25. He has 1 million already, and I don't have that. So we are moving in this space now, and it creates also a personal crisis. So that in itself is still counted as a crisis in which we are living in today. Allow me to go over these 3 points and immediately include an example of the church's response. So a while ago, we mentioned poverty, socio-economic crisis. There is still that gap, a really wide gap between the rich and the poor. And you know, Karel Lubick, the servant of God, Karel Lubick, who founded the Focolare movement, which I am part of, mentioned already that the reason why this poverty continues to exist and broadens, this means that the gap continues to enlarge in itself. It's not closing in. And the reason is because we still have a culture of having. A culture of having means what I want to get, what I want to have, and I will pull it without consideration of the needs of others. And so she proposed another culture. She said, we need the culture of giving. It's the culture of sharing. And you know, this was something that was concretized in a more practical manner when they founded the Economy of Communion, or the EOC. I don't know if you have heard of this before, but this is a social economic paradigm focused on building a more fraternal and just world through business practices rooted in communion, in sharing, in reciprocity, and gratuity. So this was initiated by Karel Lubick and the Focolare movement. This was launched in 1991, and it encourages businesses to operate with a culture of giving and sharing rather than only focusing on profit or profit accumulation. So there is a business model that they follow. EOC businesses operate within the existing market economy, but they commit to sharing a portion of their profits to address poverty and social needs. Before, I'm not so sure now if it's still the practice, but I remember it's 1/3. So I don't know if it's still the same practice now. But there is still the same commitment of sharing a portion of their profits to address poverty and social needs. So the EOC businesses aim to reduce poverty and social exclusion also by creating jobs, by fostering community development, and by promoting a more equitable distribution of wealth. So the culture of giving. See, even in businesses, this is possible because it also seeks to integrate economic activity with social and spiritual well-being, promoting a more holistic view of human development. So the EOC businesses are in different parts of the world. You may want to check which ones are in your country. They have a website, they have a directory, and try to interview, to explore, to see how they operate, how they function, how they the business model that they're running to, how aligned is it? I know there's one EOC business. It's here in Asia. There's one that I know in Korea, South Korea. It's a bakery. I just forgot the name, but there's also here in the Philippines a bank that does so, Bangko Kabayan. So try to see what are they doing also. And this would be one way of helping, the church helping in this crisis. I move to the next point. This is actually not so new. I don't know if you have heard of it before. It sounds a technical term, but hopefully we become more comfortable with it. The theology of the body is something that came from St. John Paul II. It was a series of teachings. He had this Wednesday general audience, the Catechesis of the Holy Father, and it was running for, I think, 2 years, if I'm not mistaken, that was focused on this whole and put together when you consolidate them. It's what we call the theology of the body. And it's really nice because it explores the meaning of the human body, love, sexuality, and our identity from the perspective of the Catholic faith. So I hope it would be nice to go over this also. I will not go into much detail of this because that demands a separate session or sessions rather, a series of sessions to understand it. But even this rich treasure that we have is accessible, can be also seen as a response to address or to help address that particular challenge of the world today. When we were mentioning that we are living in a world where there are crises, okay? Because this time you're aware that there are different views of love, of sexuality, of the body. So it's nice to look at it from the perspective of faith, that sexuality is a gift and it's not something to be exploited, but these things. So let's try to explore also this one, and not just explore among us, but try to communicate it to more young people, because they may not be as aware of this rich teaching of the church. So hopefully with this context, it also helps us understand that, or rather alleviate or resolve in ourselves what are the confusions that exist today when it comes to not only sexuality, but also distorted views of love, of oneself, and emphasize all the more that chastity is not just for the few. It's a life that is something that we are all called for. All Christians are called for. Now I go to the second point. One of the 2 points that was also mentioned that I wanted to quote here from Christus Vivit was the digital environment. For sure, when we mentioned on the key challenges, you also thought of this one way or another. You could have been as specific or more specific as I would be this afternoon. And you're aware that our generation, is growing up with a highly digitalized world. So there are many opportunities to learn, to connect, to create, because now there's content creation, no? But there are also serious challenges. In fact, in the document of Christus Vivit, there's already an acknowledgement of the potential dangers of the digital environment. So that includes a sense of isolation and superficial relationship, because these platforms can lead to disconnection from real life relationships. There's also, because of this persistent or rather constant access to different forms of content, this can also result to digital addiction and fatigue, and also distraction from meaningful activities like prayer, study, work, acts of charity, because we're spending too much time. We want to spend too much time scrolling, your hands may be doing this left and right, or it's okay to use. These are tools that are okay to use. But when we abuse these tools, especially allowing ourselves to be distracted too much, then it becomes a challenge, especially when it becomes an addiction. I remember I had a meeting with the Apostolic Nuncio before to the Philippines, His Excellency Most Reverend Gabriel Cacha, and I asked him, what's a suggestion that you can make, or what is something that you do that you could advise to young people? And he said very simply, everything in moderation. Everything in moderation. So even the use of digital tools should be done in moderation. Also, that when we are exposed in the digital environment, you are not surprised to see that there's cyberbullying. It's a term that came up because there's the digital environment already, and then there's also online harassment. In fact, there's this toxic online behavior, and it really contributed to a wide polarization among peoples. So this is a challenge, a really big challenge. So here we mentioned also, we were discussing about, or we somehow mentioned the crisis of truth, and we know that this was deeply felt in the digital environment. You know how fake news, artificial intelligence used wrongly or abused, misused, to distort the truth intentionally creates for us really a crisis of truth. Even Pope Francis and Pope Leo now are victims of misuse, abuse of artificial intelligence. There's deep fake. Deep fake. It somehow pretends that you're the one doing the action when you didn't really do it, but it uses your facial features, your physical features to let the viewer think that it's you who is doing whatever is in that video or saying in that video. So this is also an area of concern, a big area of concern. How is the church responding to these digital challenges? Well, I would personally say we're halfway there. We're not fully there yet. But it's true what Pope Francis said in Christus Vivit, that the digital world should be a place of encounter, not exclusion. It must be used responsibly to build not walls, but bridges. So we have to promote authentic human connection. Let's continue to have that. The church encourages to prioritize real-life relationships, not necessarily letting go or thinking that the digital environment is evil. In fact, we see the digital environment as an opportunity for evangelization. That's why in the recent Synod on Synodality, a portion of that document, if you have read it, it's quite a thick document when printed, but when you go over it, it speaks also of digital missionaries. So for us, the digital world is also an opportunity to evangelize. So we have to help the church in this aspect. Also, we need to understand that the church continues to promote media literacy. So we continue, even the Pope has an Instagram account. I don't know if he still has Twitter, because Pope Benedict launched Twitter, continued by Pope Francis. I'm pretty sure Pope Leo is continuing to do it. Although it's X now, the platform is called X. There's Instagram. And the church continues to make herself present. Your priests, for sure, and also bishops are on social media. They're also sharing. They're also content creators now because they see the digital world as a place of encounter. So let's continue looking at that one. The third point I wanted to mention is the multi-religious and multicultural world. This one was not mentioned in, or rather not really named as a challenge, as much as the two points earlier were, but since we are in the context of Asia, we're discussing the key challenges of youth in Asia. We are aware that we live in a multi-religious and multicultural world. You know how diverse Asia is, right? So this is actually something beautiful in itself, but it could also pose some challenges, like if Catholics are a minority or whatever religion is a minority in a place, they may face prejudice, they may face misunderstanding, their religious freedom may be limited. It depends on the context. You, for all people, can say what are those that apply as challenges in your respective countries or towns. So there can also be, we may witness some tension, some conflicts, if there are existing political or social tensions framed in religious or ethnic perspectives. So this is something that is also worrisome. And the church responds by promoting in her own circle first a strong identity, a strong Catholic identity, but also not limiting ourselves to dialogue. It's something very beautiful that came up during the Second Vatican Council, that there is also the interreligious and intercultural dialogue, where there's room for collaboration, recognition of similarities, especially of human values like peace, solidarity, and justice. Now, among those 3 points, and also how the church specifically responds, there's also formation and accompaniment. These 2 terms are terms that are widely used, especially in the papacy of the late Pope Francis, but continue to be used in the papacy of Pope Leo XIV. Formation is a continuing effort that the church is doing, but also with strong emphasis to accompaniment. So journeying, walking with people. This is how the church continues to understand, to walk with young people, to journey with young people. So the question lies now with the many crises, for example, or challenges that we encounter in the world today, in our context, in our local specific context, and understanding also ways by which the church responds. We now turn to ourselves, because who composes the church? It's not just the Pope, it's not just the bishop, it's not just your parish priest or the nun with the convent nearby. The church is all of us. In fact, if you try to go back with the examples of how the church responds that I gave earlier, you will find that the response is made by everyone from the church, including most especially the lay people, the laity. So who are the laity? Us. We're the laity. We're the lay people. So try to, I hope in these moments of your conference until tomorrow, you try to explore also how can we help the church respond to these challenges. That's all. Thank you and good afternoon.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Gio, for speaking truthfully to the realities we face. And as I mentioned, that's a last speaker for our presentation section. So with that, with the sharing from Gio, we now transition to our youth panel. And I pass into my colleague, Suman Gale, an indigenous young person from Nepal, to continue with the youth panel.
Okay, hello everyone. Hope I am audible. I just want to cross check whether it's okay or not. Okay. So today we are honored to come across as young Catholics from across and from Asia to reflect on our shared journey of faith, mission, and engagement in the life of the Church. At a time of great social, spiritual, and ecological transformation, our experiences as youth are shaped by a dynamic interplay of global challenges and local realities. As we gather here today, we do so with gratitude for the guidance of Pope Francis, whose leadership was profoundly influenced how we understand our mission as young people called to be the agents of hope, compassion, and justice. Today, through this panel of youth speakers we reflect on how his vision, particularly through the themes of synodality, care for creation, and accompaniment, has inspired both personal conversion and collective action in our communities. Today, through this panel, we will explore the pressing challenges young people face in their own respective contexts, from economic uncertainty and mental health to climate injustice and social exclusion, and share how our movements and our organizations are actively responding with faith and creativity. So please bear with me to invite our youth speakers, youth panelists today. So the first panelist I would like to invite to share her experiences, share her insight is Miss Laknali Ruvinika. She is a fellow member participant of our Catholic Youth Leadership Program we hosted in IYTC, but she is also the coordinator for a group of people, group of youngsters, group of young people, young advocates called Freedom Fellowship Team from Sri Lanka. So, Laknali, the floor is yours. So the time is yours.
Thank you. Am I audible to you all? Okay. The first one is I want to share that how has Pope Francis inspired our personal movement and mission as a young Catholic in Asia. The first one is focus on mercy and compassion. Pope Francis consistently emphasized mercy and compassion and love values that resonate strongly with young people seeking to live their faith in real and active way. His pastoral style with encourages to reach for young people out of marginalized, the poor and the forgotten, reflecting Jesus' own mission. As young Catholic in Asia, where poverty and social inequality are passion concerns in the call of his fluid, many youth-led outreach charity initiatives. The second one is care for the environment as per Laudato Si. His encycle Laudato Si has awaked a deep sense of ecological responsibility in us in region vulnerable to climate change, environmental degradation. Pope Francis' message is push to act loyalty by promoting sustainability and reducing waste and protecting creation while understanding the global implication of our action. So then I'll go to the another one. What are the key challenges for face youth community and how is our movement responding? The time that I have, I choose the one the best thing in Sri Lanka we faced on youth as a youth community. The thing is mental health and social isolation. So our challenges is increasing stress, depression, and anxiety, especially post-pandemic affect many youth. Social media pressure and academic competition wasn't easy. So what we can do is, what our community do is, hosting youth counseling with trained Catholic counselors. That's the best thing that we can do. And also creating safe spaces in parishes for open dialogue to emotional support. That one also we did and we doing that because of the youth. We have to get them together. So that's the point. I got the best thing that we faced. And the another one I moved. How we organization practice synodality in our local church or ministry. So the first thing, I think the main thing we all have to do is listen to every voice. Synod is we must do that to the youngest, to the oldest. We have to listen their voice, encourage honest feedback or parish activities, ensuring that you feel here to valued. So we have to value their voices first of all. So another one is working with the marginalized. Reach out the disconnect youth, children of war, youth with disabilities, and those struggling with poverty. Organize interfaith service projects respecting our religiously diverse communities in Sri Lanka. Ensure inclusive participation and regardless of background, language, or social status. And the best thing is synodality means no walks alone, especially the most forgotten. We have to get them back and go with them. So I moved another one. What ways are youth contributing to social ecological justice in your context, our context? Youth in Sri Lanka are not waiting for permission to make change. We are already acting through our faith, creativity, and community spirit. We are confronting ecological destruction, poverty, inequality, and division. We are building more just and loving world to small act at time. So we are doing that. And I'll go my last thing. What is our hope for church and youth engagement under the new Pope towards 2027? So I said this a summary, a little summary because for the time under the new Pope towards 2027 World Youth Day. We hope for a church is that younger in spirit, bolder in mission, and more faithful in love. A church that empowers youth not just to follow, but to lead with joy, courage, and Christ at the center. So we are ready. Let's build church for today and together. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Laknani, for your insights, for your reflections, especially when it comes to the context, the local context. You beautifully mentioned how your team, how your community, how Freedom Fellowship and the organization you belong to, working in order to address the challenges the people, especially from the marginalized communities, are facing. It's really true, and then I'm really hopeful, and I really want all of us to share our conviction for the last words that she shared about younger in spirit and bold in action, and that's a really reflective statement that I think we should take from her reflection and action. So thank you, Laktani, so much for your time, and then hope to connect you again in the future endeavors that we will have. Okay, so next, let me invite our next youth panelist that we have. Is none other than Nathaniel Marvel Arifin. He's also from the International Youth Advisory body from South Korea. So, the Nathaniel, the time and space is yours.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? If you can
Yeah.
hear me, please raise your hand. I know it's been a long meeting, but yeah, thank you. Hi, everyone. First of all, I want to say happy Feast of the Sacred Heart, especially to all of you who held a special devotion for the Sacred Heart of Jesus. So, my name is Nathaniel Marvel Arifin. You can call me Nathaniel. I'm also a member of the IYEP, the International Youth Advisory Body, same as Gio before, and then my colleagues later. We are a group of 20 young Catholics from all over the world who advise the Vatican Dicastery for Laity, Family, and Life on matters related on youth and the church. Basically, we try to bring the voices, dreams, and struggles of young people into the heart of the church. And now, today, I would like to share you a little story about the last time I met Pope Francis back in December 2024. So, during the private audience, we were given the chance to ask him any questions. So, I take the chance and I said, "Thank you, Pope Francis, for visiting Indonesia last September. At the end of your homily, you said something really stuck in me, and it is Fate Kiaso. Anybody ever heard about Fate Kiaso? And anybody knows what it means? So, Fate Kiaso is actually make a ruckus or make some noise. This is also mentioned in Christus Vivit, number 143. So I ask Pope Francis, I would like to ask what kind of ruckus, what kind of noises are you asking us as a young people to make? Can you imagine what is the answer? When His Holiness heard my question, actually Pope Francis laughed. He literally laughed at my questions. And then he replied with another question. Why is someone young like you asking someone old like me what kind of ruckus, what kind of noise to make? He smiled at me and said, just make a noise, any noise. But don't forget, whatever noise you make, always listen to the Holy Spirit. He said to me that there are two voices that we can hear. One that enslaves us and one that frees us. From that short moment, I learned something big, especially as someone who grew up in Indonesia, and maybe this also applies to many of us in Asia. We sometimes feel hesitant to act on our own. We tend to wait for instructions from someone older or maybe someone that we think knows better. And that mindset can really limit our creativity and the role we are meant to play as a young people of the church. This is a wake up call for me. Maybe some of you will feel the same. We keep hearing that we are the now and the future of the church. But how can we build the church if we are afraid to make some noise? The kind of noise that matters. That is our challenge. First is to listen and then to shake things up. So let me leave you with one verse that speaks directly to us as a young people. And this is also my favorite verse from the Bible. It's from 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 12. Let no one despise your youth, but set the believers an example in speech, in conduct, in love, in faith, and in purity. So, what is the question? The question is, how do we make the right kind of noises in the church today? How do we live by the synodality? For me, synodality means walking together, listening to one and another, building the church not just for the youth, but with the youth. It means we don't just wait to be invited to the table. We bring our voice. We invite others too. It means saying, I'm not just here to participate, but I'm here to co-create. And if I can be honest for a moment, I'm not someone who likes to dwell too much on our weaknesses as a young people. Yes, yes, of course, we have challenges, we have weaknesses, but I rather focus on the strength and the goodness that we already have. We have the energy, we have the creativity, and we have the courage. We care about justice, inclusion, and meaning. That's not something we need to apologize for. That's something the church needs. Sometimes, when people think about synodality, it's just a meeting or a document. But for us young people, it's a lifestyle. We live synodality when we listen deeply to those who are different from us, especially those who are on the margins. We speak honestly, but with humility, not just to be right, but to build communion. We act boldly, with creativity and courage, even if we make mistakes, as long we are rooted in love. Living synodality means that we stop saying, I'm just a volunteer or I'm just helping out. No, we are church right now, today. And synodality becomes real when we create spaces for dialogue, when we work together across generations, and we trust the Holy Spirit more than our fears. So, if Pope Francis tells us to make some noise, to make a ruckus, and the church is calling us to walk together, then maybe our mission is this: make the noise that unites, shakes things up, not for the sake of noise, but for the sake of love. Break routinity that no longer serve the gospel. Build bridges where there were walls, includes the unheard, especially those who feel church have forgotten them. Friends, synodality is not a trend, it's the way of the gospel. Jesus walked with his disciple, he listened to them, challenged them, cried with them, and sent them out. We are called to do the same. So let's listen, let's speak, and let's walk. And lasting fatekiaso. Let's make a noise. But please, always with the Holy Spirit leading the way. And thank you for the time. So may God bless you all.
Thank you so much, Nathaniel, for this very much like powerful reflection that you shared. Like Fateh, how do you pronounce it? Like Kieso, like let's make some noise, for the Synodal Church. Like sometimes I really like the way like you quoted the things. Like there are some like a group of people who feel like okay, church has forgotten it. Then, but synodality talks about bringing all those people back to the community. We call it like community of the church, the synodal church that we are talking about. So thank you so much for your time, for your reflection and insight. Hope to connect you again in the future. Thank you so much. Okay, so it's getting inspiring, it's getting interesting, isn't it? Okay, so if you are feeling sleepy, just let me know. I can put some music, then we can have some K-pop dancing or something. Okay, so yeah, thank you so much everyone for being so attentive and then being here especially tonight. So let me introduce the next youth panelist that we have for tonight. It's also from the International Youth Advisory Body, but from South Korea, Juen Lee. So she's here with us. She's also in PhD in Children's Literature and Media Education. So happy to have you, Juen. The time is yours.
Can you hear me okay? Okay, my name is Jiyoon, and I'm a part of IAB, just like Nathan, and I'm a representative of Korea. And mine will be more of a personal sharing, so yeah, bear with me. And the first question I got was, how has Pope Francis inspired you or your movement? And what really inspired me encountering Pope Francis was his attitude toward us, he took us very seriously, and like Nathan mentioned, he even gave us time to ask any questions, and he really wanted to listen to our lives, and he genuinely valued what we could contribute to the church. And I think that's why IF was organized. And just like Nathan said, Pope Francis told us to make a noise, which I personally interpreted as a call to be an active participant and change makers in the church rather than the passive recipients. Also, like, while I have not yet participated in the World Youth Day in Korea yet, but I know that one of the first stages of volunteer formation involves deep reading and reflection of Christus Vivid. So in my own movement, I am part of Catholic Youth Bible Movement, and we set our central theme this summer as unity, which especially through the lens of synodality, we reflected together on the joy of the gospel, which like deeply enriched our shared sense of mission. And in Korea, one of the biggest challenges for the youth is our limited positions in the church. Often the Paris Council of Lay People do not include youth in the board. Therefore, like, we cannot take much part in decision-making process. So, and also like Nathan mentioned, culturally, there is a tendency of not to speak out and just this passive participation. So in Korea, many young people stop attending church once their formal youth period ends. And also socially, in Korea, one of the social issue is delayed marriage and family formation. So as a result, the definition of youth in Korea extends to those in 40s, making the youth group as a very highly diverse and complex. Personally, I belong to a movement where we are placed at the center. Our ideas are welcomed, and our work is deeply appreciated by the priest. And yeah, but since I am also in my 30s, I also find myself like discerning the next phase of my faith, how my religious life will going to be. So as I mentioned, unity was our guiding theme for my movement this summer, and we reflected on the second chapter of Philippians, the second verse: complete my joy by being of the same mind, with the same love, united in heart, thinking one thing. So one of the key practices we embraced was conversation in the spirit, which was really new for our movement, because our movement do lots of sharings based on the Bible text, but we never really did the synodal listening process. So by doing so, we realized that the essence of our synodal move was that to walk together, we need to have Christ in the center while we are walking. And we need to recognize each other as parts of the images from the Christ. And so, like a mosaic, just seeing each other's images, we can complete the picture of God's love, how Christ is loving us. And we hope to continue practicing this synodal journey this season, beyond this season. And another question I got was, how are youth working for justice in Korea? And many of you may already know from like news that the political situation in Korea was kind of very abrupt in December. So it prompted many young people to reflect seriously on social justice and the role they can play as young people. So I think these events kind of like awake a sense of civic and moral responsibilities among Korean young people, especially those who are involved in the church. And lastly, my hopes for the church and World Youth Day 2027 is, like Gio mentioned previously, we discussed in our last meeting with IAB in December that now is the time of crisis. There's rapid social, ecological, technological, and industrial challenges, really challenges as Catholics. But as Catholics, we are being challenged to respond wisely and faithfully. And personally, I am very concerned about the widespread use of artificial intelligence, because like I even heard some of my colleagues, they didn't know what to write for their sharings. So so they just asked ChatGPT to write it for them. So it really concerns me that people are relying on it for decision making and even as like some kind of belief system. So I think but however, the time of crisis is also time for new opportunities, as we learned in our IAB meeting. I hope the church can be a clear moral and spiritual guide, helping us discern what to believe, how to live, and where to place our hope. And I also hope that World Youth Day 2027 will be the moment where the noise of young people is heard more clearly than ever, and just sparking ways to make noises in our lives. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay, hi everyone. Let's make noises all together with our friends from IAB. So it's really a graceful time that we are having, listening to our young voices coming from different parts of the world, Indonesia, Korea. So yeah, the thing Juan was mentioning is the time of crisis, the time that will really help you out how to reflect and how to discern yourself for the next pathways. So it's really a reflective time and a reflective session. So thank you so much, Juan, for sharing your time and your expertise and especially your experience with us. Okay, so please bear with me and then with our panelists, of course. So we have two more interesting and then energetic panelists with us. So let me introduce the next youth panelist that we have today. So it's Brian Tolentino, a young Franciscan advocate. So the other introduction or the kind of like background of his sharing, I would like to give this time to Brian. Brian, the time and space is yours.
Hello, dear brothers and sisters, Pax et Bonum. Because we practice in our organization the shared leadership, I'd like you to introduce first my colleagues that they will be also sharing with me for today so that you can hear some other sharing and reflection. I'd like you to meet our National Vice President, Charles Chua from the local unit of Young Franciscan Advocates in Malabon, Philippines. Charles?
And am I audible po? First of all, Pax et Bonum, peace and all good, dear brothers and sisters. As mentioned by Kuya Brian, I am Charles Chua, currently serving as the Vice President of the Young Franciscan Advocates. First of all, I apologize for joining on without notice. I just asked Kuya Brian if I could take part and share some of our first-hand observations and experiences. It is my joy and humility that I share with you our reflections in response to the questions, to the first and second question. For the first question, how has Pope Francis' leadership inspired our mission as an organization? Pope Francis' leadership is one that leads by example. As young Franciscan advocates, we are rooted in the life and teachings of Saint Francis of Assisi. His love to the poor, his deep respect for creation, his simplicity, and his care for the excluded. These values guide how we lived, served, and journey as young Catholics. Pope Francis has helped us see these values in a clearer, deeper light. Through his words, example, and leadership, we feel more connected to Christ, and it has deepened our faith in ways we didn't expect. He doesn't speak only to our minds, he speaks to our hearts. His call for us to be joyful witnesses, to go to the margins, and to live simply courageously has strengthened our identity as young Franciscans. In the Philippines, it is not always easy to live out this mission. Sometimes we feel unheard and unsupported, and it can be challenging to find other young people who share the same passion. But Pope Francis reminded us not to be afraid, to speak boldly and walk humbly. His leadership gave us courage to continue even when things are hard, and to help others find the joy and peace that comes from walking closely with Christ. For the second question, the challenges we face in our community and how we are responding to it. First of all, we face many real and painful challenges. One of the most difficult is the reality that in the Philippines, being active in social and political issues often leads to being unfairly labeled as terrorist. Advocacy and activism, especially when rooted in justice and truth, are sometimes met with suspicion and are often red tagged simply for speaking out or standing with the marginalized. Another painful challenge is the lack of support from some priests and parish communities. Even though we are a recognized Franciscan youth movement under Franciscan Solidarity Movement for Justice, Peace, and Integrity of Creation, this makes difficult to expand YFA in other areas, especially in Franciscan churches. At times, it feels disheartening to be expected to serve yet not welcome to, to lead or speak. We also see that many young people today are either unaware of or even uninterested in justice and advocacy work, especially in the area of justice, peace, and integrity of creation. The realities we deal with, such as poverty, environmental abuse, social injustice, often feel too heavy or too distant for some youth. It's not easy to invite others to care deeply when they don't see the problem firsthand. But instead of giving up, we have chosen to adapt. We now collaborate with youth ministries outside Franciscan families as long as they shared our values. We've found unity not in names but in common heart for service. We also invite youth to join our outreach activities even if they don't yet understand or believe in what we do. We believe that through this, when people are exposed to real stories and real struggles of others, especially the poor, the imprisoned, or the neglected, their heart begin to change. Based on our experience, many youth are not moved by seminars or long talks, but by presence, by sitting beside someone in pain, by listening to a story, by sharing a simple meal with the forgotten. It's through this moment that hearts begin to open and passion is born. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hello, thank you, Charles. And for the next question, for the number 2, I'd like it to share what is the key challenges we face in our community and how are we responding. And we face many real and painful challenges. One of the biggest is the lack of support from the some parish and community, even though we are a mandated Franciscan youth movement. Just like Charles said, but instead of giving up, we have chosen to adapt. But in the next question, I'd like you to meet also one of our members from the local community of Sampaloc. He is also part of the Bukal ng Tipan, which is have a special practice when it comes to synodality. I'd like you to introduce Vlad Ables. Vlad.
Hello, brothers and sisters. Good evening or good afternoon or whatever time it is there in wherever part of Asia you are right now. So I am Vlad Ables. I am from St. Anthony Shrine, Sampaloc, Manila, and a member of YFA. So in response to the third question, how do we practice synodality in our local church or ministry? For us, synodality is not just a word, it is a way of life. It means walking together, listening deeply, and making space for everyone's voice, especially those who are often left out. In YFA, we practice this through the diversity of our members. We are by no means perfect, but we are definitely not an exclusive group. You can say that we are an inclusive group. Our members come from all over the Philippines, though mostly from Luzon and Visayas. We come from different walks of life. There are teenagers, students, young professionals, single parents, LGBT, young married couples, and even the children of victims of EJK. We embrace everyone who wants to journey with us in love, service, and action. Just as the late Pope Francis said, "Who am I to judge?" We don't judge. Everyone who seeks to know God and journey with us is welcome. Synodality also shapes the causes we support. We choose to stand with the vulnerable and the unheard, persons deprived of liberty, PDL, children in conflict with the law, CICL, the elderly, the victims of extrajudicial killings, EJK victims. These are people that the world often forgets, but we believe that they are part of our church, our mission, and our family. Just as Saint Francis of Assisi, our patron, said, God gave me brothers and sisters. We don't choose who is born as our siblings, but we love them, whoever they may be, since we are all one family in God. In everything we do, we try to build a space where everyone is seen, heard, and valued. That is what it means for us to walk together, not only in our organization, but as a part of the wider Catholic Church. Synodality is not always easy, but it is worth it because no one should walk alone. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Blood. And I'd like you to share the last two questions that was given to us. We as young Franciscan advocates, we are committed to follow the values of Saint Francis of Assisi that give us a strong foundation for contributing to social and ecological justice. His example of simplicity, compassion, care for the poor, and love for all creation is deeply relevant in today's world. Here are some meaningful difference or start by our own little way, like what Saint Francis said, that we start by doing necessary, and along the way, you are doing the impossible. In ecological justice, we promote Laudato Si and Laudato Deum. By the teaching and values, we share the Pope Francis encyclical on the environment. We use our team as our guide actions in our community and schools. We have a current program from now, which is the Camp Tahanan. From the Tagalog word tahanan, it's an English word of home. Since we are living in one common home, we create a 3-day program which is youthful, creative, and engaging with the young people to see, judge, and act for the creation. And we practice and encourage simple living, reduce waste, limit consumption, and live simply in line with the Franciscan values. And encourage others to embrace minimalism and tricks like organizing clean-up drives in the beaches, drives, rivers, or public areas. And we create community gardens, plant trees, and advocates for reforestation and initiate recycling programs. And we also raise awareness through media and art, use social media, music, poetry, or visual art to spread ecological awareness from a Franciscan perspective way. We have also an eco spirituality events. We organize prayer services, retreats, or reflection that focus on caring for creation, integrating spirituality with environmental responsibility. And we have also a social justice stand with the poor and marginalized. We volunteer in shelters, orphanages, food banks, or with migrants. Like Francis said, was no embrace the leper and the outcast. We imitate in this modern generation the way of Francis' life. As an advocate for human dignity and human rights, we speak out against injustice, discrimination, inequality, and corruption, like what we did with the family victims of EJK. We accompany and journey with them through their healing and reconciliation through different formation programs and activities. And later on, their children and the youth undergo JPIC camp to give them a hope and fire with them the spirit of advocacy from being a victim to being an active servant and advocates of the community. We participate in campaigns that promote peace, fair wages, and just treatment of workers, and the youth empowerment and education to help other young people to access the scholarship, education, and opportunities through tutoring, mentorship, and community workshop. We also have solidarity action to join peaceful protests, sign up, share petition, and we have also a different kind of fair trade and ethical consumption. We have also interfaith and community dialogue that promote peace and understanding among diverse groups. Like Saint Francis met the Sultan during the Crusade, we have a powerful model of peacemaking so that we can share it with the young people. We also have the Franciscan spiritual anchoring daily prayer and discernment to let the action flow from a prayerful relationship with God. We also live the gospel to let the good news shape how you treat others, especially the most vulnerable. And as a fraternity, inspired by the Franciscan fraternity. For the last question, we as the young Franciscan advocates, we hope for the church and youth engagement under the papacy of Pope Leo XIV and toward the World Youth Day 2027. We hope as we carry forward the spirit of Saint Francis with a heart for peace, justice, and deep reverence for the creation. Under the guidance of Pope Leo XIV, we are filled with renewed hope for a church that listens, walk humbly with the poor, and embraces the energy, question, and convictions of young people. To the World Youth Day 2027 is not just a moment on the calendar that we are all excited. It is a pilgrimage of faith, unity, and purpose. As we journey toward it, we hope to see that the church will empower the young voices in decision making and mission. A Franciscan witness that is visible in care for the earth, solidarity with the marginalized, and radical joy. A community where every young person, that no matter their background, is they are all welcome, valued, and challenged to live the gospel courageously. And we pray the Pope Leo's papacy continues to be marked by simplicity, compassion, and bold leadership. And that World Youth Day 2027 ignites a global renewal led by youth who are ready to serve, love, and build peace. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Thank you so much, the entire team of Young Franciscan Advocates, for sharing your insights and reflections. And we are really thankful for continuing your work of see, judge, and act for creation, embracing the Franciscan values of peace, justice, and care of creation. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here tonight with us. So we have the final youth panelist with us. So she is none other than Titi Maya Gale from Nepal, but currently she is also part of the International Youth Training Center in Thailand. So Titi, the time and space is yours.
Hi, thank you, Suman. Hello, namaste, and Swadika from IYTC, Thailand to you all. And this is Titi, and I'm from Nepal. And it's an honor to be here in front of you all. And I'm glad to be part of this very vibrant youth panel. Being the final speaker here, a lot of things that I would want to say has been said already. So now I'm just like reflecting on what I was thinking when Bertha first asked me to be part of this panel. When I was first asked to be part of this panel, I was thinking of how I should address all of you. Not just as me as an individual, but also as one of you, and also as a part of Catholic Church, and also a member of IMCS. And while doing that, I was also reflecting on Pope Francis's most famous encyclical, Laudato Si, where he talks about the integral ecology and compassion, especially considering the inclusion of all those who have been marginalized. And then I was reflecting on how it has affected my life, how it has been part of my journey with God, and how it has been part of IMCS' mission to continue its faith in action. So it has struck me how it is not just his writings, but also his lived experiences that has shaped me as an individual, and how it is reflected in the church and our movement as International Movement of Catholic Students, when he called IMCS to deepen our union with Christ and be agents of social change. So Pope Francis led not just as a spiritual leader. For me, he was more than just a spiritual leader, because I lost that connection with the divinity at times. But even when that connection was lacking or oftentimes unfortunately weak, he was a model of humility. He was a model of compassion and also courage to me. His encyclicals, they became part of my everyday journey. They became part of my advocacy, and also his unwavering call to leave no one behind, to make space for everyone. It became the foundation of our movement's social justice actions. Pope Francis made space for all. When I say all, for all, everyone who have been historically, traditionally marginalized in the system, systematically marginalized, systematically, taken out of the system and excluded. He included all of them in God's compassion. And while doing so, he introduced a space for us as young advocates to make bigger space for those who have been out of the church circle. So he spoke for the marginalized and for the forgotten, and he spoke with truth. And he led with love and humility. Now, when we talk about Pope Francis's leadership, we talk about inclusion, and that is what IMCS is always there for. Pope Francis's legacy in faith in action shows that love must be lived, and justice must be practiced, and mercy must be visible, and the church must walk with the people and not above them. And this is what we see in our movement as well. We walk with the people. Synodality for us is our journey with God and with his people. Being inspired by his Pope Francis's life and teachings, the journey has been beautiful, but of course it comes with challenges. And while talking about challenges, I was talking to some of my fellow colleagues here and also some of IMCS interns, and we are sharing our experiences. So we being from different parts of South Asia, I realized that we share a lot of problems and challenges that youth usually do. And while I was listening to Charles and team earlier, I could relate so much. We are all part of the same system, and we are all going through it. And then again, we are all going through it together. One of the major problems, besides the ones Charles and the team already shared, is that in South Asia, because of our cultural background and also how our social structure each shaped, our traditions have shaped our churches to be dominated by clerical supremacy. So this is a challenge that it's very difficult to overcome because it has been internalized to such an extent that it has become a norm. But again, going back to what Marina Didi was sharing earlier, there are chaplains, there are lay animators, there are alumni who have been accompanying us, who have been listening to us. And while they accompany and take us along in that journey as a journey with God, together with our alumni and together with our chaplains. And the thing that they could do, or we could work together to bring changes, is to obviously make the leadership and the chaplaincy accompaniment more youth friendly. And from what she has shared earlier, I took that when it comes to accompaniment, it is not just always about listening to give advices or just listening to criticize. Listening just so you are there to listen, just to make your presence felt. So these are some of the challenges, and of course, IMCS and we as different national units of IMCS have been responding to these challenges in various ways. One particular challenge is energy management or time management, I would say, as most of our youths are in their transitioning phase. So there is a lot of challenges when it comes to investing their time in social justice actions, especially participating in youth movements and all the gatherings that we have. So for that, we addressed such challenges by providing scholarships to help them navigate with the financial challenges and all that. And our movements are finding it difficult to operate properly because of lack of finances also. And our students have come up with various ways to actually navigate through the financial challenges and conduct a lot of fundraisers. And as some of my friends from Sri Lanka shared, they have been conducting car washing and all those market fairs and stuff to collect their funds. And their participation in social justice issues have also built their accountability towards what they are doing, and then motivated them to continue with the movement, and also built their credibility with the community and with the chaplaincy and all those who are supporting them with the church community, so that it has made a favorable environment for all of them to work on. And yeah, moving on to the next question, how do you or your organization practice synodality in your local church or ministry? As I said earlier, synodality has not just been about us participating as individuals, it has been about participating together, taking ownership of the church, taking ownership of the community, and working together to build the community. So I'll give an example of how it has been in the movement. Like, synodality in the Ministry of Faith in Action in IMCS has always come up with building a safe space for everyone, building a space of inclusion. For example, we have our commissions such as Indigenous Peoples Youth Commission, Women Empowerment and Equity Commissions. All these commissions are making a space for those who are unheard, those who are suppressed. This is how we have been making spaces in places where there is no spaces. And among our movements members also, there is the sense of walking together, journeying together. Just a few days ago, I was talking to Bertha, and she was asking me how things are going on here. And we were just talking about stuff, and then what Bertha said to me, it was funny at the same time, but also it stuck to me, and yeah, I felt the warmth of that feeling of walking together in being agents of social change, as Pope Francis has called us to be. What she said was, let's work together, and if things go wrong, we'll learn together, and when there are times to cry, we will cry together. So that is how our movement has been going on together in living the life of synodality. And in what ways are youth contributing to social and ecological justice in your context? We have Laudato Si Commission, and one of the main thematic areas that IMCS is working on is climate justice. So these thematic areas have become a core part of how IMCS functions. And with IMCS Asia Pacific and IMCS International team advocating this in various levels, national movements are actively participating, local groups are actively participating in their advocacy, and with small gestures such as planting trees and conducting awareness campaign and such, they have been participating to make it a reality that social justice and climate justice prevails. And moving on to the final question of what is your hope for the church and youth engagement under the new Pope and towards World Youth Day 2027. When it comes to my hope for the church and for the youth under the new Pope and also World Youth Day 2027, is for a more inclusive and listening church, a church that walks together with the people, a church that walks the talk of synodality, and a church which does not struggle for power and lives to serve the gospel, to live the gospel, and also to bring and empower young people as leaders of today, not just tomorrow. And I hope that World Youth Day 2027 will become a space for real dialogues and actions and renewal, especially on issues like social justice, peace, and care for our common home. And I hope that World Youth Day 2027 will contribute to build the bridges where there are gaps. And now I would like to leave you all with one final statement or sentence that I really, really like from one of my favorite author, Arundhati Roy, author of An Algebra of Infinite Justice. Arundhati Roy beautifully says as, there is really no such thing as voiceless. There is only the deliberately silenced or preferably unheard. I'd like to leave you all to think on this, reflect on it, and also think on how we could magnify the voices of the voiceless, how we could make the church a listening church, and also how we could actually be agents of social change. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Titi, for your reflections, for your sharing, especially for empowering us with a quote that love must be lived, justice must be practiced, and mercy should be visible in our actions. So thank you so much for empowering us together with our participants with your powerful voices of reflections and day-to-day living experiences with the people. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, all the panelists, for your voice, your reflections, and your lived experiences with us. So now we have come to the end of today's forum that we have, but I would like to invite all of you to be active participants of tomorrow's forum, tomorrow's session as well, because that's a very important session we will be having tomorrow, because that's where we bring together all the voices that we have within our minds, within our hearts, and we will be setting up some direction for the upcoming years all together as a synodal church, as the members of the synodal church. So thank you, everyone, for your time, for being here tonight. So before we adjourn from this session, can we have the final group photo all together? And the technical team from IYTC, please help us taking the final group photo. Okay, technical team, please let us know when you are ready to take the picture so that we can give some sort of like wide, peaceful smile. Okay. Orgo, are you taking the pictures, or please say 1, 2, 3 at least, like so that we can be prepared.
Yeah, here you go.
We all can
Okay.
say peace, okay? But don't unmute yourself. Just peace.
Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Once more. 1, 2, 3. Another one. 1, 2, 3. Thank you all.
Thank you. Maybe as we close, can we have any young person to lead us into closing prayer?
Okay, let us pray in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Loving Father, we thank you for today. Thank you for the guest speakers who has shared with us, for the youth that has also shared with us. We pray that you may guide us as we go to our different, to bed or to sleep. Help us to, especially the young people, to become models or agents of change in these challenging times. We also ask the Blessed Virgin Mary to pray for us on this on your feast day. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with you. Blessed are among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. Amen. Lord bless us. For one priest can bless us.
I don't think we have any
Do we have any? I
priest
think
with us
the
now.
Is there any lay cardinal?
Okay. Okay. Lord bless us in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, everyone. See you tomorrow. Bring more youth for group discussions tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hope to see you tomorrow.